Whoa. Okay. Sorry, everybody. We are late. We were chatting shit behind.
It's my fault.
Of course, I cursed in the first 5 seconds. There you go, people.
I knew you were going to do that.
How is everybody? Welcome, one and all. Good to see some people in the chat. We have our good friend Jimmy Nuts from, I was about to say the wrong name, Chatting with Nuts.
Whatever. My background's on my stream still say Fantasy Network, and I'm like, I'm not changing it.
We have our good friend Jimmy from whatever joining us here today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Cool. It's good to see you. We obviously talk a lot over text, but we haven't actually done a chat in a while.
I talk to you two more over text than probably anyone in my life.
Oh, that's nice.
Because like I suck at responding to people. Like I'm not good at it.
So do I. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, Yolanda goes missing for large swaths of time.
Yeah. My problem is that obviously we, work at a desk and we work from home. So like I will have Discord just open. So when any interesting thing goes down, I just drop everything and I'm like, "Ooh, what's happening over here?" Because I'm easily distracted.
That is true. Yeah.
Anyway, hello everybody. Sorry, Jimmy, I could have crossed you.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just gonna say you're also at absurd times of the night. Like I'll be like, "Oh, they'll read this in the morning," and then Carlos is like, "Sick," and I'm like, "Whoa, he's awake."
I love it when you get into conversations at like 2 a.m. because that means that I can read that in the morning while I'm like brushing my teeth and having my coffee.
I'm impressed that you get up and like are able to have coffee and take your time in the morning. Like me, it's like you sleep till you have to be up. Like I'm terrible.
Yeah, I've kind of developed that habit over the last few years because otherwise I am grumpy the entire day. Like I have to have.
Oh, listen, if she doesn't have a coffee in the first 5 minutes of the day, we will have a horrible day.
Yeah,
like
this is true.
I am in fear of my life.
It's making Yolanda like a monster. That's not my experience with Yolanda. Though I guess now that I think about it, you did drink coffee immediately when you woke up here.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
You did not see the wrath of coffeeless Yolanda.
I did not. Thank God.
Oh, thanks, Dave. New library looking fresh. Yeah, we figured so streaming in our 1-bedroom apartment for years was a bit of a chore. And now we have barely been making videos, but we should really just use the background.
Yeah.
Chadia says, Samuel, and I need an hour to get over my morning chagrin. What a
chagrin,
wonderful
what a great word.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means you're like displeased in a very fancy way.
Distress for human. Yeah, because it's like much to my chagrin. Like I've used that before. I use words all the time. I don't know what they mean.
Did you just highlight Monica? Yeah. Time difference will narrow for a few weeks, right? Yeah, it will. So our clocks go back at the end of March. I think it's the last weekend of March. So we have what is that? 2 weeks, 3 weeks of one less hour. So we'll have 4-hour difference with the East Coast and 7 with the West Coast.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like how you have all of the useful information in our lives.
Yeah.
Very, very similar to me and Kelsey for sure.
Nice. Evie's Britain says my time changes tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's because there's like 5 time zones over there.
First birthday. How old are you? 19?
And when is the birthday exactly? Is it tomorrow?
What color do you guys want my background to be? What do you think?
Oh,
options.
Pink. Happy birthday, Bryn.
Beautiful.
Happy birthday, Bryn. Let me turn this down.
25, quarter of a century. You're getting old, man. Very old. How are those knees?
Listen, 25 is like prime.
Yeah, you're fine.
Go out and get it.
Wait till the number 3 hits. Then your back will be at you. We are going to the gym in the morning and forcing ourselves to do so.
When I come over, we should all go to the gym. Be
sure.
That'd be so fun.
Sure.
Everything will be in kilograms, and I'll be like, what the fuck is this?
They actually usually have it in kilograms and pounds.
They do.
Yeah. Sometimes they have it in pounds, and I'm very confused. Like, I don't know what to do with that. But generally, it's both.
We are totally off topic, but I don't really care. It's nice to be chatting to you, Jimmy. We'll talk books at some stage.
Let's pick Jimmy's TBR. So kilograms and pounds.
Yeah. We rejoined my old gym that I went to in my late teens and early 20s in my prime. When I was still kind of hitting it hard. It's been a very long time. Dear God, the amount of fitness you lose over several years of not going.
Yeah, people are like muscle memory. It's like, yeah, maybe for the first 6 months, but like whenever I was recovering from my knee injury, I lost like 20 pounds of muscle. Like it was horrendous. And then like I've never been that big again. Thank God. It was very uncomfortable. But like it was not easy at all. So everyone's lying. Or on steroids.
My one like sort of ray of hope is that I'm not all that heavier. So like I haven't gained a ton of weight. It's just all of the weight that I did have is now pretty flabby.
What can you do?
Such is life.
Cheers for that.
We are going to fix that right now.
I have a Celsius. I'm going to be absolutely fucking turnt in this stream.
Let's go. So for everybody in the chat, thanks for joining. We're just catching up with Jimmy. This whole purpose or the purpose of this stream was actually Jimmy's idea. Because we're terrible at all of this. So we're actually going to pick Jimmy's TBR, which is a phrase that I actually can't stand.
You'd love it.
We are going to recommend some books to Jimmy.
That will go on a list and be read at some point in my life.
At some point in the next couple of decades.
As Britain says, let's get to the crime books. Okay, Britain is impatient now. This is a great question. You might be getting ahead of yourself there, Britain. We'll get there. But actually, you did remind me.
We did forget about that.
Yeah. Mitch says, jump on the sauce. Get on that shit. Makes your head grow.
Yeah, rocket fuel.
Yeah.
So before we get to the TBR, what?
It's just so bleh.
We wanted to chat about genre and not just crime, but in general, like what does genre mean and how do we think about genre?
Oh, that's right. We did.
Does it actually matter? Because you also read quite broadly, Jimmy. So I think a pretty broad question, but basically I'll give you context to where I'm coming from. Because I was thinking like people like my parents, for example, who read but are not in the online space, obviously, would think of genre a lot more loosely and probably less frequently than we do.
Or like, not at all.
Or not at all. They just read books and they're like, oh yeah, I'd like to read a book that's set in ancient Rome. They're not necessarily going like, oh, I'm going to read historical fiction because it's what I do. You know, like it's a different mentality. So I guess I would wonder, and you've rebranded recently, you know, like in terms of expanding what you read and how you present what you read on YouTube. How do you think of genre? Like, do you think of it when you pick a book? Is that a relevant factor, or is it more just when people ask questions like,
give us the philosophical reasoning behind your rebranding, Jimmy?
Well, so I will say like genre never like stops me from picking up a book. So if like a romance book sounds interesting and I've heard like it's well written, I'll pick it up. Like I read Emily Henry. I had a good time with it. So genre never like prevents me. It's not like I have to stay in a box or anything. But there are times where I want a fantasy book. There are times where I want I've been on a lot of sci-fi lately. And I feel like that mood's starting to turn. Like I'm like, okay, let's get back to something else, whatever it might be. So like I do crave certain stories. It's like you said, like a general reader who isn't online. I want to read something about. Wait, I was terrified, which is funny because I do solo streams all the time. I'd be fine, but I was like, where did my friends go?
I have abandonment issues. I'm literally just seeing how does this thing work, because it's been a while.
Just keep clicking.
Yeah.
Just keep clicking, man.
Sorry, Jimmy, keep talking.
No, you're good. So yeah, I think that like I go to things when I want them. But for instance, like if I wanted something Roman, like I don't think I would care if it's a historical fiction, if it was like predominantly like a crime. Like I don't really give a shit about that. But I do think like I think I consciously try to jump around. Like I kind of have ADHD with stuff that I like want to get into. Now, one thing I will say is I relate fantasy with series, and I don't feel like reading series right now. Like I just don't. I know there's a ton of fantasy standalones. People always are like, actually, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but the stuff on my TBR is almost all series, and some of the standalones like are interesting, but like I don't know if I want to read. Anyways, I do like fantasy series, but I have to be in the mood for them. So like right now, I'm very anti-series, so I haven't read as much fantasy lately.
Yeah.
So I think those factors like length, interest of the premise. Premise is probably number one for me now. Like I gotta be interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
So you're more so just looking at what sounds interesting in terms of the blurb, the start of the book, like the premise, and then whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, and like sometimes I want to get like super far out and think about how bad the world can get, and if it can be any worse than it is right now, who knows? Like I think about that. Maybe I don't want to deal with that, so I want to have a much quieter story, like something like an Ishiguro story. So I think it's like I don't want to say tone, but kind of tone of the book, depending on my mood. And I'm bipolar, so it's always switching. It's nice.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Keeps it interesting.
Yeah, I'm medicated. Don't worry.
Wins. You're winning. Like variety is the spice of life. Be bipolar.
It's sick. Like I love feeling good and then terrible. It's awesome.
I feel you. I think the premise thing is interesting because we've been talking lately. Like we joined BookTube, and this is specific to people who have channels. This doesn't like apply to people who just fucking read like normal humans, you know. Like just us freaks that get on and talk about shit on the internet, you know. we joined
attention seekers.
We joined BookTube when I particularly was exploring fantasy, adult fantasy in depth for the first time. So we obviously found this corner. But the thing is, like, my special interests they come in phases, you know. I'll go through stuff and get really into it and kind of want to explore everything. And there's a ton of fantasy I want to get to. But after a while, you notice, okay, my normal habits will creep back and I'll just want to pick up something else. And it's not necessarily anything to do with premise or tone, or so it might be like, even like you mentioned series. It does get exhausting when the story doesn't end when you finish the book. And sometimes that's very frustrating because even other, like crime, for example, we were talking before, it just seems to be the genre that we read the easiest when we're just looking for something to pick up. And there's a ton of series in crime, but you'll generally get a book that will have one contained story, one contained thing. You'll get a message from that one book and feel a satisfaction at the end of it. And generally, it's not going to be 700 plus pages. So it's very easy. And I think when you've got a lot going on as well, like our last couple of years have been pretty crazy. So like viewers of the channel and people have found our channel with, you know, maybe you reading Hob or me reading Malazan, and then the BookTube thing kicks in where you're just like, well, I gotta continue this now because this is how we're choosing our reads. It doesn't have to be. But again, that's a BookTube specific thing.
Yeah, it is. And most people, most general people really read what's in front of them.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people I know, they read straight through series. They treat it like one big thing. Whereas us, I mean, we're always getting FOMO and looking at other things. And I think that's like life. Like, it is not just reading. And I actually don't think there's anything wrong with that either.
Yeah.
There's probably been a handful of series in the last 5 years. I read book 1 and I'm like, oh, I got to read book 2 right now. But I've probably read like 20 handfuls that didn't. And maybe that's just an indictment of like my enjoyment of it, not necessarily the actual book. But
there are also books that I read book 1, I feel satisfied, like specifically with fantasy. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I got a sense of this writer. I got a sense of this thing. And I get my satisfaction because I don't think that the plot is always necessarily number 1 for me. So like the resolution at the end of book 16, I just don't really give a shit. This is not me saying that I'm not going to finish Malazan. I will. I need to be in the mood.
Yeah. And I come and go. Like sometimes in the mood for like that big epic scope. But what you said is very true to my experience. Sometimes I get halfway through a book, I swear to God, and I'm like, it's like our friend Mitch who rated Moby Dick. I think it was Moby Dick. He read like half of it. He's like, no, it was, I think it was It. He read half of it and goes, I kind of get it. 5 stars. And yeah, 5 stars. But everyone like laughed, but I was like, I actually know exactly what he means.
Yeah.
So you're like, I got what I needed. I'm good.
It is a funny one. And before, I just wanted to highlight this comment. I think if I didn't switch genres occasionally, I'd get annoyed and burned out on fantasy. Like, I think just with any genre, that would be the case. Because eventually you're just going to read the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But also this, like my time in lit fic, for example, never lasts long. I get that too. Like sometimes lit fic, you go to it for a certain thing, but maybe certain kinds of literary fiction, the story itself, they can be kind of tough or detached sometimes, depending on the
window dressing.
Yeah. But to go back to It, so a few years ago, this is like way before any of this internet shit, I got you to read It because that is what I considered one of my favorite books from my childhood. And then when you were reading it, I realized that I never finished the fucking book.
I got to like maybe 75% through when I started to talk about certain parts of it, and you were like,
I don't remember that.
I don't remember. And you were wondering if you'd finished it or not. And I was saying, listen, you would remember this scene or that scene, like there's no way you wouldn't remember.
I didn't remember the turtle fart thing. Either I totally put that out of my brain as like a 12, 13-year-old, or I didn't finish the book, but I don't remember. So,
but even the whole, like, I won't say what it is, but like, the towards the end of like the kids section, like, you would remember that because that was the thing that I was like, how did I not know that? Like, nobody warned me about. You didn't warn me about this.
Insane. I remember Murphy reading it in a vlog, and she's sitting on the beach, and she reads that scene. She goes, it's like one of my favorite reactions I've ever seen from somebody, which whoever told her to read it is crazy, by the way. I don't know who recommended that to her, but what a bad idea.
Yeah, it's safe to say I know now.
Dude. Oh, man.
Like getting fatigued reading a single genre. It's just like I feel like that's natural reading, but it's stuff that I didn't necessarily pay attention to until talking about books online with people, and not just like having a channel, but like getting into sort of online communities and how people talk about books online. It is so entrenched in camps. That it, and then like we had our sort of stint while having a channel working in a bookshop, and it's so eye-opening when you go in there and you talk to these people that have been working in a bookshop for 25 years and will read literally fucking anything. Like literally anything. And it does not matter how you describe it. They're just like, is it good? Yeah, cool. And then they come in 2 days later. You're like, I read that book you recommended. Shit.
Yeah. Wild. I had one of our managers actually in the bookshop. I think I might have mentioned this before. Read the entirety of Malazan and the companion, like every Erikson book, every Esselmont book, and doesn't like Malazan. But Liam, his best friend, or a good friend of his, like, loves Malazan, and gave him the first book to try because he was like, oh, you like fantasy, here you go. He read it, didn't like it, and his friend was probably like, oh, you have to continue, you have to read Dead House Gates, right? And I continued to give him the books. So every time his friend gave him a book, he just kept reading them. He doesn't like them. He's read, like, how many are there? Like 17, something crazy. Every single one. And he doesn't like them at all. But he, like, keeps getting them. And he's like, it's a compulsion. I have to read it.
My dad, I bought my dad the first 3 or 4 Dresden books. He read them. I didn't see him for a while. I came back, I think, around Christmas. I see he has, like, Peace Talks or Battleground. I go, oh my God, are you caught up? He goes, no, I saw this at Ollie's and I just bought it and I read it. And I'm like, that's book like 17. Like, you skipped 14 books. And he's like, I understood it. Like, there's a couple things I didn't get, but like, it was good.
Ben, you scallywag. That's a good joke. Well done.
It was good. Very good.
Very, very good. I'm sure you thought you would pull the wool over our eyes, good sir.
One thing about genre that annoys me, and I don't want to ever like be the guy complaining about the internet while on the internet. Like, that's always rough, right? But give me some leeway here. I hate when people try one book out of a genre, like, crime fiction is just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Grow up.
Dude. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Just grow up. Like, that's all right. Now I'm going to get too far in the weeds, but like, a lot of the problems I see in the world or in life is from generalizing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And it takes 2 seconds to think about it. Like, oh yeah, there probably are a lot different books in this wide genre with millions of books in it. Like, it's just such a
generalizing
nonsense thing to do.
Yeah.
Generalizing comes from being entrenched in a camp of opinion and ignorance, honestly.
But it's the same when someone, and I understand the instinct of, like, there's such an ingrained snobbery towards, like, take your pick, towards anything, right? Like, if you grow up in a household of academics, people like I studied literature and people were snobby against every genre fiction. If it wasn't a classic or an acclaimed literary fiction, it was just, like, worth less. But people often just kind of parrot these opinions because they haven't thought about it, not because, so I understand the just ingrained kind of instinct, but it always bothers me when someone will read, try a genre they've never tried before, like the book, and then say, oh, this must be the greatest one in this genre. This one's good, Yeah.
Yeah. And when you come to it matters a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's always people, oh, that happened 60 years ago in this book I read. Bridger's doing it right now with the Roman books, right? He's like, there's some book from 1936 that's better than Augustus. And like, I mean, he's probably right, but it's like,
Is he though?
I don't know.
Is he in the chat?
We can swears at me, tells me.
We can talk shit about him because he might watch this back. But if he's in the chat,
I'm hoping he will
talk shit about him.
I'm hoping he will.
I'll hold off talking shit about Bridger until he comes into the chat.
But yeah, and also it's very harmless, by the way. Like, it's very harmless. I'm not.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But it's just something bothers me.
Yeah. Do you find then that your expectations are different depending on the genre? And I don't mean in terms of like higher or lower, but just, do you have a different set of expectations in different genres, or does it not matter?
Yeah, because I've read mostly easily like 70% of my reading's probably been fantasy to this point. And yeah, like when I read fantasy, I would like to see something done a little bit differently. Subversions are actually quite nice, though I know that's flipped. People are like, too many people are trying to subvert everything, but like, there's actually stuff that have never been subverted yet, and people do that. I think that's cool. So yeah, absolutely though, fantasy for sure. Like, for sure, I cannot seem to get myself on like the run of the mill big epic series that I think just has like very loose writing. Like, I can't do it anymore. I just
so I already can't do that, and like I there are huge gaps in my fantasy still. Like, I'm still working through Malazan. I haven't read Abercrombie. I haven't read Hobb. And those are probably the top two that I want to read.
Mhm.
There are others like, honestly, I think Marlon James is probably fantasy I want to read, but like nobody talks about it. But like I'm like, I think that might work for me. But I am already at the point where I probably cannot read your standard Orbit fantasy trilogy. Like I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, fuck you, Orbit.
I read the back of the book and I'm like, okay, I've read this book. You read one of them and you've kind of read them all. Now that is what we call a generalization, ladies and gentlemen.
I was waiting. I was waiting to say.
But
now, if it's Tor, we're reading it. But Orbit, no chance.
But what I mean is you see a kind of a trend, a similarity, and we kind of have this as well with crime. There are vast swathes of crime fiction that we just avoid entirely. And we generalize about it too. Like, we're not into the sort of thriller side of things. Like, just when you walk into the bookstore and you see this is the bestseller shelf and it's like, The Last Thing He Told Me, The One That Got Away, The Girl Who Whispered in the Dark, all that fucking nonsense. Like,
those are all very like female titles, Carlos. Are you trying to tell us something?
That's very true, yeah. So for our first crime recommendation, I will be recommending 3 women. Well called out. I made 3 generalizations and a misogynist comment. We're ready to end the stream.
In 20
You should move to America. There's somewhere in the Senate for you, I'm sure.
I'd fit right in. I'm going to catch up with the chat real quick.
Just generalized.
We are joking, ladies and gentlemen. Bengus Khan says, I used to read only lit fic and I think I got burnt out on the tragedy. That's very fair. Finding SFF was so refreshing in terms of chasing actual catharsis and experiencing heroism. That's really cool. So I get this a bit as well, where I like my fair share of literary fiction and sad books, as does our friend Jimmy here. But also, I do have a big history of reading superhero comics. And that is a genre that one can generalize till the sun comes on.
Yeah, comics, like with pictures?
With pictures, yeah.
But aren't those for kids?
Yes. I can't read, Jimmy. I need pictures.
Well, you know, Brubaker is supposedly really good. Somebody made a video about that once.
Yeah, well, was it Bridger?
I think it was Britain.
Renowned Brubaker scholar. I don't know what I was saying.
I'm sorry. You're talking about comics.
Oh yeah, shit. So the heroic thing is, it's nice to read about people being nice sometimes. And I think those kinds of stories get looked down upon in terms of their seriousness and literary merit.
Yeah.
But there are ways to do that stuff well. And when you find those in genres like SFF, which also has a lot of dark shit and stuff that isn't necessarily about that, it is quite nice.
But I think a great example of that.
I just made that full screen.
Jump scare. A great example of that is like talking about fantasy. Obviously these are books, but specifically talking about like the recent adaptations of like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, comparing it to, and I'm going to say specifically season 1, House of the Dragon, peak Game of Thrones, you know. Now, I have been staying away from online discourse about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So I don't know if this is the case or not, but I can imagine that there would be a contingent of critics or like viewers that think A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is less deep or less interesting, or just, you know, nothing to criticize, but it's just like a nice, like more lighthearted story. I think it's just as deep and has a lot to say, but it's about somebody being decent. And funnily enough, just like in real life, there's a tendency to underestimate the value of kindness. It happens in literature as well, right? Like people think that books about being a good person are less interesting, or books about good things, right? Like superheroes, love stories, you know, like books about positive emotions are less important or something.
I would even say it gets overlooked when people talk about books. Like when people miss the point of, like, people call A Song of Ice and Fire purely nihilistic. It's just all bad things, all bad people.
That's
completely
crazy.
And people just ignore the fact that Sam wants to give up in the snow, and even people who begrudge him a little bit like help him up, and you like see Sam on this journey of like gaining self-confidence. He becomes a stepdad. Like there's just so much kind. I mean, the Hound, like the Hound is a great example of that too. Not that they're not flawed people, but yeah, you know, if you ask, like, I think like a general person, they'd be like, oh yeah, Song of Ice and Fire, like everyone in it is horrible. It's very nihilistic, and I've always kind of, I don't know, I just think it's interesting, like people don't highlight that kind of stuff. So
it's also like, I talked about that. I made this video about the Black Dahlia recently, and I was thinking about that whole nihilism thing, where I don't actually know if that book is nihilistic. It's got horrible people in it, but even horrible people are trying to find the meaning in their own lives. Like nihilism is just inherently, life has no meaning. The universe has no inherent sort of meaning or value in terms of living a life in it. That is like just not A Song of Ice and Fire at all, in my opinion.
No, if anything, it's about keep going whenever like every odd is stacked against you. Like you're just not going to win all the time. And I don't know. I mean, I end some of my days and I'm like, man, can I be kicked in the groin more by life right now? Like there are times where I feel like that, but I keep waking up for now.
It's kind of like, you know, at the very beginning of a Game of Thrones, when Ned says to Bran that you can only be brave when you're afraid. Like there's no bravery if everything is easy and you're not afraid. You're not being brave. Like you're not overcoming anything. Similarly, isn't it a bigger statement of hope in humanity to have people do like small kindnesses in dark circumstances, like the scene you just described with Sam, as opposed to if, you know, the circumstances were less dire and there were less bad people around, you know, like the contrast is what's really powerful about it.
Would you say that it's not about how hard you hit, but it's about how hard you can get hit and keep getting up?
Yeah, it's very well said.
Adrian! Sorry. Rocky is a great story, actually. That's a great example of something that is a story that wouldn't have been taken seriously necessarily by critics, and then it sort of found its audience at the time when Stallone just wrote that script in the mid-70s. And like he wrote it for himself, and then suddenly it connected with people, and then you found that the critics had to accept that, hey, this is actually quite good, and it's pretty simple, but it's a very human need, you know, just like the little guy getting up. It's nice.
Yeah, and there being some sort of like justice in the world. Poetic Arson said nihilism doesn't preclude meaning making, and basically saying that like you can think that there's no, like, you know, this is all for naught and still make your own meaning. And actually this is pretty much my philosophy in life, but a lot of people would call that existentialism instead of nihilism. This is where like labels get annoying because they can mean one thing to one person and another. So I'm not saying as if A Song of Ice and Fire was a nihilistic story, I don't think that like ruins it anyways, but I'm just saying it isn't. Like it's labeled wrong is kind of my point. But yeah, actually Poetic just said what I said. There we go.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't love labels anyways. But and also I don't like genre labels very much.
They get very tricky.
Nor do we.
And I used to think about genre a lot less than I do now, which is why I wanted to kick off with that question, because I feel like I used to just pick up books and read them, you know, and the only time it became an issue was if I was recommending a certain book as a book to a person, and then they would come back with something like, oh, but I don't read X genre. And I'd be like, oh, that's weird. But I used to think about it a lot less, but obviously like being on YouTube and like BookTube, people talk in those categories a lot more, which in part is understandable because you're trying to get people to get an idea about what the book is that you're talking about quickly, and it's useful for that. And then working in a bookshop, also you have sections by genre, which again makes sense. Marketing, it's useful for people to know where to go for what they're looking for. But it can also pose a challenge because there's stuff that doesn't easily slot into one genre or another. And then you have people just making decisions based on maybe marketing or based on their own kind of biases. Like, and it makes you wonder, like, there's so many things. And I think crime, for example, since we've titled it crime.
We'll get to
we'll
it.
get there. Crime is so broad, and so many like crime thrillers, spy thrillers, like mysteries, all of that gets lumped into the kind of umbrella term of crime. There's a tendency I find in a lot of bookshops to pull any crime fiction that is literary or, you know, perceived in a more highbrow kind of way to get pulled into fiction.
Oh yeah.
And then that devalues the crime section and further cements people's prejudice towards the genre, because then you walk into a crime section and you see a bunch of long-running series all looking the same, the kind of thing you find in an airport, and then people are just like, this is what crime is.
When we worked in the bookshop, we were going through this big sort of refurbishment of the shop, and we were told to essentially standardize how we categorize things to fit with the, you know, the corporate overlords, because it's the same company that owns Waterstones and Barnes and Noble, which, you know, it kind of killed the soul of the place a little bit. But we were told to put John le Carré in fiction. Take him out of crime and thrillers.
He was actually always in fiction until when we were just customers. He was in fiction, and this was a thing. So I used to run the first crime section and then fiction sections, and I lobbied for le Carré to go into crime because we had all spy thrillers in crime. So it was like, if Mick Herron is in crime, then so should le Carré be, you know?
Yeah.
Because we don't have a thriller section. We have thrillers in crime. And they agreed with me for a short period of time. And then it was pulled back out. And then there was a big thing of pulling a load of stuff out of crime. And I was not happy with that. And it also confuses customers. And
yeah.
But one way or another, you can never, it's just not black and white. There's no clear lines defining it. Like historical fiction is a great example. Like, where does historical fiction start? How old does it have to be?
Great question.
We treated it more as a setting in the bookshop. So historical fiction was just always with fiction. But we were talking about this earlier. If you go to any bookstore in Spain, historical fiction is the #1 selling genre in Spain. So it always has its own section that is probably just as large as the general fiction section. But it's like 90% Rome and the Spanish Civil War.
Yeah.
Would you consider Small Mercies historical fiction?
Great question.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't instinctively. My answer would be no. What is it? 60s?
70s.
In my head, I feel like anything like World War II and previous is historical fiction firmly. And then post World War II, it gets a bit trickier, but realistically, the 70s are 50 years ago, so you're right. Like,
but
it
also,
is historical fiction.
Yeah,
It's
we're getting
also-
old.
We are.
that's also a
Sucks.
book that is the whole like conceit of the book is surrounding a historical event and time period and the societal kind of upheaval surrounding that thing.
Yeah, I guess because it's specifically about the time that is different to now. Well, not me.
Also,
Yeah.
Mitch says The Given Day is historical fiction. Yeah. Like I don't really, I wouldn't call The Given Day by Dennis Lehane a crime book at all. It has elements, but it's a historical novel just about that time period. Also, I wanted to mention Genghis Khan's. I'm just bitter at this point that GGK isn't known worldwide as one of humanity's greatest treasures because he's in the fantasy sphere. I totally get this. Like, I think, you know, fantasy readers looking at someone like GGK, Robin Hobb, George R. R. Martin, these people, Stephen Erickson, where you talk to any random person on the street and they're like, oh, that person that writes those fantasy books, you know? And you get that kind of, that phrase in itself is just so dismissive. And like, you know, there are people in my family I talk to that I'm saying, oh, I'm reading this book. And you're like, oh, that fantasy book. I'm like, even just calling it what it is, you just sound so dismissive.
Yeah, it's tough.
I get it.
Yeah, it is tough. Did you know GGK and Stephen Erickson went to the same high school?
Really?
That's crazy.
That's wild.
That's insane.
Like, what are they putting in the water?
Yeah. Yeah.
LSD.
Keep an eye on that school.
What's on the lunch menu in that place? I want to know.
Tuna and crackers, I believe.
But yeah, like, I get this as well with, you know, crime authors. Like, I personally think that Dennis Lehane is arguably one of the best novelists. Just like, he calls himself an urban novelist, where he just writes about a city. And that's something that I really like.
Usually Boston.
But that's something that I really like growing up in a city, in an inner city. It's a very specific way of living, and there's a very specific kind of culture. And then I like Dennis Lehane because I get to see this sort of Irish immigrant culture and how essentially like 19th century Ireland has just sprouted up in this huge American city, and how they've maintained so many of the same mannerisms and that kind of thing. But the fact that if I recommend Mystic River to somebody, it's like, is that a crime book? And you're like, man, you got to go and say that.
Technically,
just read it. It's a good book. But yeah, I get you, Bengus.
Yeah.
Let me catch up on the chat here because I did.
Let's do that.
Matt says, things belong to multiple genres that you can use to organize online easier than in a physical space that requires only one location. It's good for organizing. It's also good for recommending it to someone, like, just if you know the kinds of things they like, you might be like, hey, you might like something like this. I tend to like when you get into more theme stuff, because if someone says, oh, I like books about regret, then you're like, well, okay, let's think about that a little bit more. That's a little more interesting to me.
Yeah. Kind of like you were saying about looking for premises that are interesting, like what story might interest me, what theme, what type of character, what type of writing. A lot I've noticed for me recently has been just reading the first pages and what voice is clicking with me and makes me want to keep going.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I've always just read the first page of any book I buy or I get. Like, I always do it. And that has made books become like my main read immediately because of how much I like the first page. So I do that all the time.
Evie says, someone referred to my year of rest and relaxation as historical fiction, and I had to go lay down.
Oh, God.
It's not, and I'll because we can't even talk about the historical event in it because it ruins the book. But it's not based around like I don't think it has much to do with that time period. And maybe the author would argue that it did, but I didn't feel like it did.
No, because
Agreed.
that event doesn't dictate the circumstances of the book necessarily. Like people aren't sort of that character isn't culturally aware of that until the very end, so it's not necessarily something that is we can't it would spoil that. But like someone like Tana French, I find and I will be recommending a Tana French in this that you must add to the TBR.
I have quite a few.
Well, that's cool.
Which paperbacks did we give you? Or
The Trespasser, The Secret Place, and I think that's it. I got a lot of Roddy Doyle over here too.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, nice.
So the thing I was talking about, like I like sort of urban novels. I think when I see people sort of talking like online, and by online I mean when you just scroll reviews on Goodreads, people do judge Tana French by the quality of her sort of standard police procedurals, which that's just not the point to me. And I don't think that that's the point to her either. It's all the window dressing. Like each one of those books in the Dublin series to me is about a very different specific element of modern Irish societal culture. And like recently I want to finish off the last two books that I had in that, and I read Faithful Place, which is set in the Liberties, which is in a very old part of Dublin. It's old working class Dublin, right across the river from where we used to live. And it's a place that it's steeped in working class culture and Irish culture, and she sets it in a time where the socio-economic landscape of Ireland is changing. And what does that mean to working class areas? And how do people behave? And what elements of people's sensibilities evolve with the changing like socio-economic landscape? So that book, to me, it's about Irish emigration, which Ireland is a country of immigrants, and it's about sort of lost opportunities and the way life goes and how people can feel so bitter if things don't turn out the way they feel like they should. And it's like, I found that book like really, really profound to me, but I grew up here. I know these people. So like somebody reading it who's not looking at, what is the book about? They're just like, I want to see a crime book and I want to find out who did the thing. I understand that that's like, but yeah, kind of like what Bengus was saying about GGK not sort of getting the respect. It's frustrating when you kind of see, it's being judged on a surface level as this genre label.
Yeah.
Rather than just being a good book about a thing, Yeah,
that's how I feel about Tana French. She just writes really good books.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the mystery like or the crime that much. I really don't.
I rarely do. But I rarely do in the ones where it's kind of a whodunit. Like even in Agatha Christie, which the whole point of her books is who did it. I actually really like all of the social commentary in those books, which is funny because she was.
I was going to say, wait, what? I've heard some questionable thing.
Oh yeah,
some questionable stuff. Have you ever read Agatha Christie, Jimmy?
No, I haven't. I own a few because she's like, one of the biggest, if not the biggest author of all time, probably. Right. So I have a few, but I haven't read them yet.
Which ones do you have out of curiosity?
Something Dan Aykroyd or
Roger Ackroyd.
Dan Aykroyd.
Murder on the Nile. And then what's her most popular one? Like there's one that's like
there's Murder on the Orient Express.
And then there were none.
Then there were none. I think I don't think I have that actually. No, I'm thinking about it. I don't think I have that. Maybe it was just what Roger Ackroyd and the Nile. I think maybe those are the ones I have.
Yeah.
Roger Ackroyd is one. I've only read 2. Roger Ackroyd is one of the 2 that I've read. It was very good. It's not. I am not hugely into murder mysteries. Within crime, or like the cozy murder mystery, where like
grandmas are solving crimes.
Yeah.
Derek loves those, by the way.
I know. I've
huge like readership for them, and I see the appeal of like the puzzle pieces coming into place. I think I prefer crime that is a bit darker, I suppose, or like examining like murder in a, I don't want to say realistic because that makes it sound a bit condescending.
Would you say broader?
Yeah. Like I like if there's a like exploring the effects of a crime on the community and like that sort of thing. And but huge respect for people like Agatha Christie who can pull off like the puzzle pieces like that. Like that's all about the plot, right? It's all about the solving of the mystery. Yeah.
It's like all these. That is ridiculous.
Yes. That's why everyone reads Crime and Punishment in the dude bro lit sphere. I guarantee it.
It's insane.
Mitch said, for anyone listening and not watching, do you ever read crime to get it out of your system? There are certain corners of dude lit bro internet that probably do.
Oh, that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a live stream.
Evie says more gritty.
Not necessarily gritty, because I wouldn't consider something like Mystic River gritty.
I don't even know what gritty means, honestly. Is that location?
Have you ever like a sandwich on the beach and there's a piece of sand in it? And then that's gritty to me.
Yeah, I don't like when there's sand in my.
Brayton, what would you classify as gritty? As a gritty crime story? Is it tone? Is it setting? What do you think?
What about the gritty? You know what I'm saying? Like,
what about grits?
Oh, man.
Matt talking about, I love George Simon's Detective Maigret books. Novellas really more like psychological than puzzles, or more psychological than puzzles. Stick around for the stream. You might see George Simenon mentioned again. Matt?
Have you guys watched the Clue movie by chance, by the way?
No.
Oh, I love that movie. When I was a kid, I thought it was like the greatest thing in the world. And I was obsessed with like murder mysteries after that. And then I played the Clue game all the time. So I think I used to, it's funny, I don't really read those, but I used to love them when I was younger.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing is also really cool for seeing the craft of how the stuff is written. Like just these authors that are so locked in on interweaving plot and everything falling into place like it's a real skill. And I've seen,
I could never,
that some of, I actually think it's And Then There Were None is Agatha Christie wrote it backwards. And I'm like, that's
smart.
That's wild.
That's a really good way of like making sure you stay within the lines of reason. I think that's very, very smart. I bet a lot of people have done that since. Yes, Clue is so good, and Evie's right. The 7 million endings. You guys have to watch it. Like it's just a fun movie. I've not watched Knives Out, but they've been on my like watch list for a long time because I think I love it. But I think the first
one is amazing. Yeah, I think you would really, really like it. I guess that's on the cozy side, like murder mystery.
I think that's very much inspired by Poirot, by Agatha Christie's Poirot. So yeah, it's certainly in that sphere. And he goes for the social commentary thing as well that is very prevalent in those old sort of British mysteries and stuff. Also, Matt, I want to get into these Japanese murder mysteries. So also stick around for the rest of the stream. Shall we just start recommending books to Jimmy?
Can I recommend you a TV show before?
Please.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there is a show. It actually has a very interesting lineage as far as being canceled and picked back up. It's called The Killing.
We watched that.
Oh, dude.
So good.
Dude,
yeah.
The first 2 seasons, some of the best television I've ever seen. You want to talk about like a murder mystery that is also like very deep. Dude, the guy that plays like the problematic detective, the skinny dude, he looks like a rat. Dude, that guy.
Joel Kinnaman. He's phenomenal.
Dude.
He's
that
phenomenal.
Show, you guys are the only people I've ever talked to have seen it.
It's so good. So
The
that
Killing
is exactly what I mean about like what are the effects of the crime on the community.
Yeah,
right?
And the family. The dad.
So good.
Dude. What a show.
That to me, I don't know if that is what people would call gritty crime fiction, but that's the crime fiction that I love.
It's perfect to me.
Yeah.
What is the effect of this tragic thing or this violent thing on everyone in the sort of spider web sphere of the event?
Including the detectives.
Including the detectives, yeah.
And you know, the other seasons, like after it got canceled for the 3rd time and got picked back up by Netflix and they finished it, I actually thought those seasons were great too. It's just the plot of the first 2 seasons. Like the cliffhanger at the end of season 1 is bananas, dude.
So,
bananas.
So, okay, that's perfect. If you love The Killing, then, I mean, you're going to love everything that Dennis Lehane has ever written, especially something like Gone, Baby Gone. But also all of the Tana French Dublin books. That's that.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely on the list. Like,
there you go. There's your TBR.
I mean, Lehane, I'm gonna read everything he ever written. He's written, like, no doubt. After Small Mercies, it's too good.
So before we get into recommending, what?
I mean,
how much time do you have, Jimmy?
I have dinner at 7 with some people, so we got time.
Oh, great!
What is 7? What does that
translate?
3 hours.
In 3 hours.
Oh shit! Yeah, we're
realistically like 2.5.
Cool.
So before we get into recommending, because part of where this came from was also like, oh, you've read some amazing crime books, like Small Mercies, Power of the Dog, a couple of Tana French.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, you have started reading crime fiction with some of the best of the best.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo as well.
Also, I actually still haven't read that.
Neither of us have read that.
Yeah.
The first book I think is phenomenal. I think books 2 and 3 are really good, but like you could read the first one and probably quit. I mean, that might be I don't know how people feel about that, but the first book I think is like incredible.
My problem with that was I started really reading crime fiction when I was probably 10. And that movie, it would have been when I was a teenager, the Swedish one. So I watched that. I watched that a few times, which is probably why I never read that book. Same with The Godfather. I've never read The Godfather, but I've seen that movie 1,000 times.
Yeah, same. But yeah, so like we were talking about this, trying to pick out books to pitch to you. I had a problem like that when I started reading crime fiction. It was kind of I was starting to pick up adult fiction in general, like over the last few years, and then I found Don Winslow, and he was the first crime writer that I read, and I was like blown away, and I figured, wow, this is amazing. I need to read more where this came from. So I went into the bookshop and picked up random crime books. This is like when I was 16, and most of it was just not good. And then I learned over time that I just started at the top. Okay, this is partially just because I'm curious.
Are you about to recommend here?
No.
Are you starting?
No.
Okay.
We're only an hour in. We have 3 more hours.
Only an hour, yeah.
So partly because I'm curious, and partly to like build towards recommending. What What are you interested in crime? Like, based on what you've read, what are you excited about in terms of exploring the genre more?
Huh. I mean, I definitely think like the toll on the community and the people involved in the story is like crucial to me. And how much that impacts people like throughout the story. Like I'd like to see that change people. I think that's really good. I do think, and this isn't like a exclusive thing, but I do like it being centered around historical events. Like that was one of the things about Small Mercies. Like I took something away from that and then did a little bit of like nonfiction reading online, not a book or anything, but just like reading more about that area at that time, which was kind of neat. So I like that.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I will say like I really do like a great plot. Like the killing is the perfect story to me. Like I really just, there were moments when my jaw hit the floor. Like I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
The mystery itself is also like
Incredible.
so strong in that. Like the mystery plotting, it's great TV writing.
And the characters are phenomenal. Like I gave so much a shit about everybody in that show. Everyone in that show. So I guess just recommend me The Killing. I think that's probably what it is. I don't know if I've read one that's from first person, by the way, now that I'm thinking about it. Pop 1280? Maybe Pop 1280? Was that first person?
That is first person.
Yeah,
Pop 1280 is first person. So every book in the Dublin Murder Squad is in first person.
Oh, nice. Cool.
And it's, so each detective basically like the tropes, she plays with the tropes of the genre, where each detective will have their own, you know, demons to deal with and I guess personal problems or personal lives that get in the way of whatever investigation. But if you like The Killing, I know I recommended Faithful Place to you. I'll talk about that one in a second. But if you like The Killing, I would say Broken Harbor by Tana French. And I don't think that we actually got you that when we saw you.
How rude of you.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. But Broken Harbor, I think, for the effects on community, but also everything that I like about Tana French was her just writing about Ireland and Dublin, and like Ireland experienced a period of economic growth and people being able to buy houses for the first time. But then also, what did that mean for property developers and banks and building just starting and people, you know, for the first time ever, like sort of living comfortably, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the financial crash hits in 2008. And we see all of the sort of shitty building work that went on and sort of these ghost estates that went up in 2 weeks. And what happens when you put everything on the line to buy one of these places and you lose your job? And, you know, you might come from a working class background in Dublin. And what happens when you snap? Broken Harbor, unfucking believable book.
I'm writing it down. I'm writing everything down in a note so I can.
So nice. Yeah, Mitch says, still think the Dublin Murder Squad sounds like an Irish underground rap label. Yeah, it does. It totally does. It's a silly fucking name.
We can just call them the Dublin books.
Yeah, she didn't even do that. That was a marketing thing from the publisher.
Of course it was.
Yeah. Also, there is no murder unit in the Irish police. It's just they just.
You guys are pretty peaceful.
Yeah. It's also the only police force in the world that is not armed. They don't carry weapons. They don't carry guns.
Just a guard, just hanging out.
Just a guard hanging out with a little stick, you know? Yeah, they're chilling. They do have an armed support unit, but it's rare. They cover the drug cartels that exist.
But all my relatives that have never been anywhere outside of America say that Dublin's super dangerous and horrible.
No, it's not.
I mean, I've been there, but I have to believe them.
Obviously, yeah, obviously.
I mean, you know, yeah, there are parts, but like it would feel disingenuous of me speaking to an American person saying that there are parts of Dublin that are dangerous. But we don't have to get into that.
It's like one factor I can think of. Yeah. Broad.
Jimmy, have you watched Broadchurch? Jimmy, I think you would love Broadchurch, actually.
All right, I'll write it down. That's a TV show then, right? Or is it?
It's a TV show. I think currently it's on Netflix, but I'm not sure if it would be on US Netflix. That is about a little town on, I want to believe it's the west coast of England, so like Cornwall or something like that.
I think it's Cornwall. Yeah.
I think I might have heard of this actually.
Yeah, David Tennant and Olivia Colman are in it. It's really, really good.
About Night Agent. Did you guys watch Night Agent on Netflix?
No.
It's like a crime. I think it's like 3 seasons. Maybe it isn't a crime. I can't remember, but I've heard so many good things about it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Benghis Khan has a great question. When do adults in Ireland stop trying to stop kids from cursing? Are they just letting fly in grade school? I just find the freedom with it so refreshing. This is really fascinating to me. I have never been so hyper aware of the amount of times I say fuck since joining BookTube, honestly. And it's funny because like my team in work, so my boss is from very, very close to where I grew up. Like we're both Northsiders, Northside Dublin kids. And we'll get in a team meeting. And we have 2 people on the team from America. And we're just sitting around the table going, I just got that fucking thing done the other day. Your man was at me. And all this sort of talk that is very normal. And the Americans are just like,
yeah, I can't stand it. I can't stand how prudish it is with language here. It drives me. And I do it, Well, one of the reasons why is because one, when I grew up in like an evangelical household, not happening. So I always watched my mouth. And then in wrestling, unless you were a goof, like you always tried to be as family friendly because you want as many people possible to watch you. Plus, kids buy merchandise, so you want parents to like you. But yeah, like on my YouTube channel, like I definitely less so than I used to. But like people, that's one thing when people meet me, they're always shocked by how much I swear. Because I swear a lot, like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like there's also like time and place. Like don't do it in a job interview. Like we're not that.
Sure. Yeah.
We're not animals. But I think just the way I grew up, it's just words, man. I don't care.
Yeah, they mean very little to me. And it kind of drives me crazy. I have a friend. Well, he's not really. Whatever. He doesn't like people swear, and he says it's because it shows low intelligence because you can't think of other words. And I was like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard because I'm smarter than him. So.
Yeah. But yeah, Benghis, this would be a great Benghis. Why am I calling you Benghis? Ben. This would be a great question for my dad, but my dad curses more than I do. So it's
I do think that's changing in America a little bit though.
Yeah. And I think it's the fact that like all of this talk sort of online is if you're presenting yourself online, you want to have a sort of a guard up, and maybe you'll present yourself like you might in a job interview. So everything becomes a little bit more formal. I'm not a formal person. And I think
it's exhausting.
In Irish culture, we have a healthy skepticism of formality and authority, which is very ingrained in how you're raised. Like we called our teachers by their first names in school because fuck them, Also, like my geography teacher in school went to school with my dad. I'm like, I know everything about you, Dick. I know what you were doing when you were 16. You can't fool me, Al. Hi, Al. If Al's a great fan of the channel. I haven't seen Al since I was 18, but I'm sure he watches.
Fucking Al.
Anyway, we're getting so off topic. Also, Mitch, please. Okay. Shall we start recommending some books?
Yeah, let's do that.
So the first one was Broken Harbor by Tana French. The second Tana French is any of the ones you have on your shelf currently that you have not read.
Okay.
The Trespasser is set where we used to live, so that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's why you ended up giving it to
Yeah.
me. And I think that's going to be my next one
Cool.
from her, I think.
That's still my favorite, I think. But I would love to see you read Faithful Place, because when you guys came to Dublin, that is where you guys stayed. That's the Liberties. And it's like right beside the Guinness storehouse.
It's where you guys went for breakfast that
Yeah.
time as
Two
well.
pups.
Yeah. So like you guys went to that real hipster, trendy place that was in a real working class area, and you got both sides of that kind of changing environment. That book is all about how that place is changing, and it's really good.
Yeah. The pub that we went to, the Viking pub,
Yeah.
also in that area, like obviously right at the river, but yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's Faithful
Come on,
Place.
Dan. Faithful Place, yeah.
Okay.
And then the other one we said was Broken Harbor, but you're gonna read the Dublin books. It's
All right. I got 3 recommendations, all Tana.
We are all about diversity on this channel.
What do you got?
Let me know, Jimmy, whenever you pick up a random Tana French, because I might just also, because I want to prioritize her. I'm reading The Searcher. I don't have a lot of time to read, so I'm still like maybe 100 pages in, but I am loving it so much.
Tana has to be like current, like interest in authors, like definitely top 10. Like she's along with like David Mitchell, Barbara Kingsolver, and Ishiguro. Like there's just somebody I want to read like everything they've done.
She is so good at creating a sense of place and people and atmosphere. Like I've only read The Trespasser.
The vibe of The Searcher is so different.
It's so different, and it's, oh my God, like I don't think anything has actually happened, and I don't care, and I don't need anything to happen. I just want to hang out in the pub.
Preach.
It's marvelous. Anyway, yeah. So okay. So
you could sum up my life with that sentence.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to happen. I just want to hang out in the pub.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Yeah.
Oh, look,
all right, what do you got?
Britain's reading The Searcher and said, I think Tana French is as good at creating fictional communities as Stephen King. I agree.
That's a great comparison, actually.
Such a good book.
It's a great comparison, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, yeah.
Those books, especially that little community she creates. Like I just read Salem's Lot last year. That's a spot on comparison, yeah.
Evie said, one day we'll get back to Adolfo. Yes, yes, we will. I promise. I was liking it. It was, the very little that I read.
Britain asked, do you two get loaded and talk about books at the pub? Yeah, every weekend. How do you think
that was the majority of my vacation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think our relationship made it this long?
Yeah, for real.
Pretty sure that's how we met.
Yeah.
I'm actually 99% sure that's how we
met. We actually bonded over Lost.
That's funny.
Initially.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Rogue, yeah, it's quite a common occurrence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogue, we should go for a pint sometime. You're up northwest, right? You're from Donegal, I think.
That profile picture's class.
We should go there.
I love it.
We should go there. Yeah.
We'll go there and just
I love it there.
Search for Rogue without knowing who or where he is.
Walk around shouting.
Hey, do you know the Rogue from YouTube? He's real cool guy on BookTube. Anyway, what do you got?
That is a flawless plan. All right. Did I hit the mic? I did. I said when we sat down, you know what? This mic position is great because I can't hit it.
Grab your first book.
Okay, so Will, since Carlos started with Tana French, we thought, I'm going to give context.
Oh my God.
Shut up. We figured we have a couple of books that we're recommending that are authors you've tried and basically like where to continue.
Oh shit, I forgot one of my main books. Hang on. You keep talking.
Yeah. See, I'll give context in the meantime. This is so on brand.
I love it.
Then we have some books that we just think you're going to love. And then others were like, I'm not sure, but this will be something different to like give you a different taste of the genre, and something. I'm just curious what you would think. But I'm going to start with the predictable one because he did. So, Don Winslow.
City on Fire.
Okay, so I think I have 4 options for you for what your next Don Winslow could be, but I might actually throw in a 5th one. Anyway, it's just options. You can write down whichever one you want. The easy, obviously, you could just pick up The Cartel, because like it's a sequel. It's less a sequel and more just a continuation. I will get to that. You can talk about that one. But obviously, in terms of like being rooted in real events and learning something about the unfolding situation of The Power of the Dog, you will love The Cartel. Like, that's easy. But it's also not giving you anything new that you couldn't have picked up yourself. But yeah, that's there. Then, okay, so City on Fire.
Jesus, this list is going to be huge.
Yes. Well, I'm giving options and Jimmy can pick.
It's got to last me decades.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Literally.
I know you don't want series. And this is a series.
Here's your first book 1. There you go.
It's a trilogy. However, it's finished. And each book is like 300 pages. Let me confirm.
I would say the entire trilogy is about 450,000 words.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad at all. I have the first one. I have City on Fire.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
I think you bought it for me.
I think we might have. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't keep track.
But yeah, so like the whole trilogy, you could just read it as one big book, but also it has so much dialogue. It reads insanely fast. Like the first one has like 350 pages, and actually less because I should have checked this earlier. Fuck. Where's the fucking chapter? This is fascinating stuff. Okay, I did not plan. Oh.
While you're doing that, Matt said, to be fair, a ton of French fantasy novel would sound awesome. I would love her to write a fantasy book.
That would be really interesting. That backfired. I was going to say how many chapters it has. City on Fire actually doesn't have that many chapters, but the other two have like 100 chapters. Like it reads, it reads extremely fast. So you can just read it as one thing, like it's not going to take more time or space because it's a trilogy. But still, I understand the wanting standalones. But in terms of this one, I think we've compared it to Small Mercies before in the sense of it's 2 writers at the end of their like literary career, just doing what they do best and just kind of flexing. Like he's flexing in this one. He is so.
They also really worked closely with their editor to like shave every unnecessary word out of it.
Yeah, there's zero fluff. Every word is necessary. But he worked on this for like 30 years. It's a thing he wanted to write for like most of his professional life. And it's because he read the Iliad and the Odyssey. Wonderful. And as he was reading it, he figured, hey, this is just a crime book. So he wanted to retell the Iliad and the Odyssey as a mob story.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a modern retelling of, Greek myths.
It is.
Well, it literally is.
The first one is the Iliad. The second one is the Aeneid.
And the third one is the Odyssey. Yeah. And you can read it and not necessarily pick up on it. And you can kind of look for that as much as you want. But the more you look, the more you're going to find. So the basic premise is the Trojan War and Helen of Troy. And the 2 factions are the Italian mob and the Irish mob in Providence, Rhode Island. And what's kind of cool is that the 3 books have 3 very distinct settings. The first one, East Coast mob. The second one is Hollywood, and the mob in like infiltrating Hollywood kind of thing, and the third one is Vegas.
I was about to ask if Vegas was in there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of the three big cities that you would associate with the mob. I guess bar Chicago. That's
Chicago
not it.
definitely up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are characters from Chicago in it.
Yeah.
Also, there's a Meyer Lansky character in the third book. He's my favorite.
He's great. He's great. But he is like, he's doing everything that he does best and that he enjoys doing here, like introducing characters and just with like a couple of paint strokes immediately giving you an idea of who they are and what they want and why they're here and what their motivations are. And they're just ridiculously entertaining. I think they're ridiculously entertaining books, but if you want to dig deeper, you can.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, lots of dialogue is always a plus for me.
Also, the plot is ridiculous. Like,
really?
Like the first book is fairly standard. And if you're familiar with the Iliad, you're just going to kind of see things coming.
I'm not. So perfect.
But as it progresses, yeah.
Okay, that's exciting.
Good.
Also, the mob, like, and I think I was going to say the mob books would be great for fantasy fans. And you kind of see that with the success of Fond du Lis with Greenbone.
Oh, yeah.
Because the mob is just such high drama. And my cousin actually recently read these books, and she has, I don't know if she'd read any like mafia stuff before. And she was texting me, she loved them. And she texted me at some point, she was like, they're so dramatic. They're all drama queens. I'm like, yes, this is why this is so great. It's all, oh, my honor, I must avenge it. And I'm going to shoot you, but intelligently.
I'm going to shoot you intelligently.
It's so fun, but they're great slump busters. If you don't know what to read, you're kind of struggling to focus on something because it'll hook your attention. So the next on Winslow I'm going to suggest is The Winter of Frankie Machine.
The fucking what? Okay. The Winter of Frankie Machine.
Yeah. So this one is
Frankie Machine. Okay.
Also a mob book. And this is one of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah. That's because you're Frankie Machine.
I am Frankie Machine. As Carlos put it when he read it, he said, oh, Frankie Machine is you if you were a 62-year-old former mafia hitman.
Yes,
and
as one does.
Yeah. Yes, of course. So I think the first chapter of this book is one of my favorite opening chapters of any book. And he kind of does what they would tell you to not do, which is start the book with a character waking up. And it just starts with him waking up and going through his morning routine. But he tells you everything you need to know about who this guy is with that morning routine and why he does the things the way he does. And that had such a profound impact on me when I first read it. And now that,
then he's got to get his onion bagel.
Onion bagel. Oh, tough.
What was the character that put him onto the onion bagels?
Herbie Goldstein.
Herbie Goldstein put me onto those onion bagels.
What a name.
Yeah. But now that, with the years, like autism has become a concept I understand, I get my hyperfixation on this chapter and how it rewired my brain in terms of the little routines and how he plans everything out. And like, oh, but it's not efficient to brew your coffee this way. And it's like, yeah, but it matters. It's nicer because this and this and this bean, whatever. Like it's...
Frankie Machine is the most autistic hitman I've ever read.
Yeah, that's a statement.
Yeah.
But what it's about is he's a retired hitman for the mob on the West Coast. And some young lads show up at his house and try to kill him. And he then tries to figure out, okay, who from my past is trying to kill me and why? So he starts to think about how, like, everything since he got involved with the mob in the first place. to try to figure out who it might be, or like what he knows, like who wants to silence him. So you have a parallel kind of timeline of him in the present day trying to not get killed, and the past of like his kind of life story and how they connect.
That's cool.
It's really good. Yeah. It's I'm not looking at the chat at all.
Mitch is just Mitch. I like all the former cartel hitman on Instagram. That could a deal. Baddies want to take pictures.
It's pretty cool.
That sounds like the plot of the cartel.
That's so funny.
All right.
Anyway, do you want to pitch the force?
Yeah, so I think my second favorite Don Winslow book, and I've read those ones that you mentioned, but I really like The Force because it's his cop book. It's his cop novel, but it's set in New York in the years after 9/11, which it's just so loaded with extra baggage, you know?
I bought the audiobook of this. This was my planned next Winslow. Yeah.
Cool. Again, the plot is so ridiculously entertaining and unpredictable, which is cool. You don't necessarily want it to be predictable if it's sort of plot focused, and this is a plot focused or plot driven book, but the central character is amazing. And it's also like, unlike many conventional books of the genre, I think he has something to say. And what he's doing in this one is more so, what do those cops that want to be heroes of New York City but didn't get to be one in 9/11, what do they do to make themselves feel like that? And if they do get corrupted, how much do they lie to themselves about who they are? And I think the main character in this, he does so much bad shit, but I think ultimately you kind of feel for him because he had a brother who was a cop who died in 9/11, who was a hero, and he's there in his borough.
How can you live up to a dead hero?
He can't live up to his brother. He can't live up to his dead hero. He wants to be one, but then he also just wants to make some money on the side and all that kind of stuff. It's, yeah. This
it's like
one is
Martin Erickson, like minus the dying.
Yes. Minus the dying and
exactly
coming
like
back to life. That one is probably the Winslow that I would recommend.
It's also just such a great portrayal and love letter to New York.
Yeah.
I do love a good New York setting in a book. Love it.
It's very New York. And he has a couple of New York books. Like he's kind of from New York. Like I think he was born in Rhode Island or grew up in New York.
He was born in New York and
The other way
then
around.
grew up in Rhode Island.
That's it. But yeah, he has a couple of New York books, and he does the city really well as a setting.
I love that. I hate whenever books are set in a city, specifically New York City, and don't use it at all.
Yeah, like what's the point?
Like he was in Brooklyn. Like, okay.
Yeah. You're just name dropping shit. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
So the funny thing, I love that too. And I read a book recently called Cop Hater by Ed McBain, which New York is kind of the central character. It's an old cop novel from the 50s. It's called Cop Hater. It is New York City, but he doesn't call it New York City. But if you want to read it as New York, it is New York.
Okay.
He just calls it a different name. So it just allows him to play with it kind of geographically a bit. But the city is very much a character. Like he just describes, that is what I would describe as gritty, because it comes out in the setting and the sort of griminess of the tone and the description of setting. Like, you know, sewers and alleyways and needles and, you know, that kind of thing, that griminess. But yeah.
That's
Anyway.
cool.
Yeah.
Cop Hater. That's a crazy title.
Yes.
Also,
I will throw in a wild card. which I don't think this should be your next Don Winslow, but I just want to put it on your radar. Because you said that you like books or crime books set around real events or historical events or like something, I guess specific. So this is an interesting case. So the book is called Satori. So Satori.
All right.
So there's a spy novel from the 70s by an author called Travanian called Shibumi.
Don't get it.
Which is here. Yeah.
So impressed you know exactly where every book is.
That's because we just put them there. Give us like 6 more months. So, yeah. Oh, bless you. Jenny just sneezed.
The cat just sneezed.
I'm surprised that the elder stateswoman hasn't made an appearance.
Oh.
Yeah, I was expecting some screaming in the background.
None to be had.
Britain says New York City, the most noir city in America aside from LA. Yeah, I'd say it's a toss-up between the two.
Chicago, yeah.
Chicago as well. Also, there's a lot of great stuff set in Vegas.
New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Every major city in America.
Yeah. Let's just keep naming major cities.
Detroit. I mean, we could.
So Shibumi. So it's about the main guy, like detective, whatever you want to call him. Hi, Derry. His name is Nikolai Hell, and it doesn't really matter what the plot is. I don't remember the plot of this one specifically, but the interesting thing about the character is that he speaks a ton of languages almost natively or natively. So he speaks, I think, 8 languages, if I remember correctly, because he was born in China to a German father and a French mother who were quite wealthy. So they had, servants and etc. So he spoke English and what was it? Yeah, French with his mother, German with his father, English with like the servants. But then had a mentor who was Japanese. So he like learns a shit ton of languages as a kid and has a very specific set of skills and cultural knowledge.
Very specific set of skills.
Aye.
I was
Liam Neeson?
Yes. It's actually Liam Neeson.
Sorry.
This is his memoir.
Sorry, we're never going to get this done.
But he has a very specific cultural background to be a spy in like the Cold War and like early days of the Cold War. But all of this is in his past. And now in Shibumi, like he's older, and like whatever, and he's doing things. Don Winslow wrote Satori about this character almost like as a sort of prequel in a way, but it jumps around in time, so I'm not entirely sure I remember what happens in which one, so bear with me.
Are you recommending both of them?
Kind of, yeah. It's a tandem read.
It's a twofer.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it shouldn't be your next Don Winslow, because it's very niche and specific, a difficult book to pitch. But Satori specifically is set a lot in Vietnam during the Vietnam War, which is a very interesting setting for him to choose. What I remember these books for is how he writes about languages and growing up with multiple languages and cultural identities and belonging to multiple places and at the same time not belonging anywhere, and how he gets used as a tool by the US government to like spy for them. It's very, very interesting in that regard. And I think both of them do that really well, which is what I mostly remember the books for. And I've been meaning to reread them. But anyway, not your next one, but just some really interesting books that I don't see talked about a lot. And they're difficult to recommend because they go together, but are written by different people. You can read them separately. by the way. You can just read the Don Winslow one in theory, like it's written in that way, but I do think it makes sense for them to go together. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up
4
now.
Don Winslows. 4.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's it now.
You mentioned like spying and all this. You know what I would love to read something like is the Americans TV show. I love
Ooh.
Oh.
All right. Well, I'll pull up my next recommendation then.
I'm the spy.
I'm the spy. So I was gonna I'm gonna mention something real quick because we just need to get the elephant out of the room. The elephant in the room. Whatever the fucking phrase is. You know what I'm talking about.
Address the elephant in the room.
Undress the elephant in the room.
What
So
kind of dress is it wearing?
one of my
Pink.
Hey, pink elephant. Don't think of pink elephant. What do you think of? Pink elephant. All right. One of my favorite books of all time. I've already talked to you about it so much, but since you love things like The Killing, you just need to read Mystic River because, like, it's just a great book. Also, I just think it's a great book, not just a great crime book. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
some crime books are great crime books. Some books are great books too. You know, like, I don't know if that means anything.
Firmly believe that should be your next Dennis Lehane. You're gonna love it.
But since you like TV shows like The Americans, may I recommend one of the most recent well-regarded spy thrillers, which is Damascus Station by David McCluskey.
I own this.
There you go. Read it. It's really, really good. So this is about an American CIA operative who is sent to Damascus at the height of the reign of Bashar al-Assad, and he is trying to recruit a woman who works basically
as an assistant high up
in the regime.
As an assistant to someone high up in the regime.
Yeah. So what would you call it? In the government, not the government, in whatever.
In the
palace.
Yeah.
And they end up falling in love. And this book, to me, is basically a romance book just between spies. But also, I really love the way David McCluskey writes about Syria and the location and the food and the atmosphere. Like, so David McCluskey was also in the CIA. He was also an operative in Syria, in Damascus. And I think he was there probably like maybe 15 years ago, like just like really like the Arab Spring and stuff. He worked there, so he knows his shit basically.
Yeah, that one sounded really interesting to me whenever I think I heard you talking about it.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in this circle of BookTube who has talked about this book.
Yeah, so it was most likely you. I just think that setting is really cool, like really, really cool.
Yeah, and he really uses it.
It's also like we will actually have a couple of like spy thrillers and spy books to recommend to you. I love them because I think it's the closest that I get in terms of having a similar kick out of it as like really, really well done political intrigue in fantasy. Like the bits where Fitz is being an assassin in Remo the Elderlings, you know, like that kind of thing. But the problem with a lot of spy thrillers, like picking randomly ones that are popular, is that they can almost read like propaganda material for whatever country the author is from. Which is not what I want. And he doesn't do that. Like, now, to be fair, the main guy is American and is the hero, you know, but there isn't like a stereotyping of, you know, the bad Arabs or anything like that. So it was quite nuanced in his take of like people just happening to fall on a certain side, not necessarily because they are better people or worse people, but just because it's where they happen to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Americans has that. I do think the Americans portrays like Soviet Russia in a, I would say, like an American lens, but then like you start to feel for the people. Like it's less about the people being from there and more about like like power structure or regime. I also have not finished that show, by the way. I'm only in season 4.
I've never watched it. How many seasons does it have?
There's 6.
5 or 6. Yeah.
Some of the most tense television I've ever watched. Like,
oh, I love it. Like,
it's so complicated. Like the relationships are all so complicated.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I've only watched season 1 though.
I don't know if we've talked about this before, but have you watched Homeland?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch Homeland.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, shit.
Madness. I have a TV section and then I have a book section.
So Homeland, I think it has like 6 seasons. 3 of them are worth watching. But it does have a satisfying ending after those seasons, you know, like it's not like it's a cliffhanger or anything. It just, I think they kept going past the original idea for the story that they had because it was successful. But
it's about a US Marine who becomes a prisoner of war and becomes a Muslim and comes back to live in America as a war hero, and he's treated as,
he escapes, right? He escapes after like 10 years or something.
But then he's kind of trying to hide the fact that he is a Muslim now. And basically all of the prejudice around that in the US, and kind of his family finding out, and you know, his kids dealing with that in school, and the sort of prejudice in school, and oh, is your dad a Muslim? I thought he was like a war hero and all this kind of shit.
But then also like people starting to wonder if he's turned and he's like spying, you know, did he escape or was he let go? And like,
is he also a terrorist? That's basically the conceit of that show.
Messy. That's real messy.
Very messy.
That show gets messy.
I will watch that for sure.
It's Claire Danes is
Damian Lewis.
And Damian Lewis. She is the main CIA agent, and she is an incredible character as well. Like, I think it gets to a point, like we started to watch season 4 and then kind of just fell off it, where like she is extremely messy herself, but she's a great character, but her dynamic with him is amazing. But once like things change, the story changes, it gets repetitive with her, and like she doesn't, I think, carry the show. But
she's a really good character, though. She has bipolar disorder.
She does,
and it's a huge part of the show.
Yeah.
Hey, I have that.
Yeah,
huge part of the show.
I think she has a far more severe version of it because she is.
Like, you don't know me.
She goes. She goes through it, man.
She goes through it. Her performance is amazing. Yeah.
I will note, Carlos, that season 1 of The Americans, at least out of the first 4 I've watched, is the worst. So
nice.
You should keep watching. There are times where like I was edge of your seat. I was actually on the edge of my seat, clenching. I'm like, ugh.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really
nice.
Good. Cool.
Okay, cool. That excites me.
Dan says that show has bonkers twists. The Americans or Homeland? But yeah, both.
But cool. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know about Homeland, but Americans definitely does.
Nice. Love that.
Am I next? Are you next?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're not.
I'm gonna grab 2 because we've been talking about a lot of American people.
Yeah, look, I talked about 5 Don Winslows in a row, so you can keep going.
I have a few people that are not from America.
Do we want to check in on the chat? Paloma said Damascus Station is now on hold with my library. Nice. Monica said Slow Horses is a great spy show. Yeah,
You've read some of those books.
I've read some of those books. I really enjoy them. I think we watched the first episode of the show, but never continued. I would like to though.
Apple TV, right?
Yeah.
They have great shit. Like I told you to watch Blackbird. That's just
incredible.
I think that's got to be one of the best mini series I've watched
and one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and that is a great example of what we were talking about earlier of like, sure, you can pitch it as, oh, this is a show about a guy that makes a deal to reduce his prison sentence in, you know, exchange to like get something out of a serial killer. But you can also just say this show is about masculinity.
Yes.
That reminded me how much I love like stories in prison. Because like I love Oz. I think Oz is like one of the most underrated television shows of all time. And that show reminded me like, oh, I need to like seek out more prison stuff.
Oz is great. Oz was like, I love that era of HBO too, where it's like just on the cusp of like Sopranos too. I think that might have come out before.
Sopranos actually had they overlapped, and Sopranos were a part of the like a writer strike or something. And there's one season of Oz that has like 28 or 38 episodes, and it's because they asked them to fill the Sopranos season because Sopranos was
that's
off.
why, right?
Oh,
And it's like it's also the weirdest season because there's just like random shit happening. So it's kind of a interesting HBO lore.
Yeah.
God, that era is so good.
That's a great show. We got to watch that.
We should watch that. I want to watch that.
Brutal.
I'm gonna steamroll through some non-American recommendations now.
I'll put these up real low on the list.
So one is I'm gonna just say this real quick, just basically for people watching, because I think that I also
Jimmy owns this book. You bought that during a hangout.
Yeah, I think I made you buy this book before.
Black House by Peter May.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you like the community that Tana French creates in The Searcher, which is rural West Ireland, this is the Scottish Hebrides, so the islands off the coast of Scotland. But why I think you would like this book is that, yes, it's about somebody trying to solve a murder, but it is deeply rooted in the character's past with the church and this small community dealing with basically old trauma of living in the grips of the church.
But also a small isolated community.
Yeah. And a small isolated community that differs even from mainland Scotland. So the main character leaves the island to go off to become a police officer in Edinburgh, which is the capital. And he comes back because of this murder that happens that is connected to his childhood. And basically this book is just about memory and repressed memories and, you know, everything that the church will do in these places. I know this because I'm Irish. Yeah. So it's dark, but it's extremely atmospheric.
Monica watched your video about it.
Hey, you and like 3 other people.
Monica's good people.
So yeah, I love these books as well because of the atmosphere that they kind of evoke, and I find Peter May's scene setting, and his descriptive writing really pleasant to read. Like I just remember feeling kind of what the place feels like, smells like.
I like that.
Yeah, I think he's a very skilled writer in scene setting and that kind of thing. But yeah, this book is basically about just small town cultural trauma with the church, which, you know, we know all about that.
Every time I think about that book, I can feel the cold wind in my face and I can smell the salt in the sea, you know, like it's so vivid. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I felt that way about Demon Copperhead, like being from an area quite like that.
Yeah, that's rough. People go through it in that.
It's a cheery novel. Very cheery.
So taking you to another part of the world entirely, this is I wouldn't call it a more cheerful book, but it's certainly a more entertaining one.
I mean, none of these books are cheerful.
No. But we're going to Australia now. This is
Oi.
Scrublands by Chris Hammer, which I put in the same kind of bucket as the type of crime books like The Black House and The Searcher, which is just very atmospheric. It's about the town, the community. These are the kinds of crime books that I really like to learn about how communities interact in places where I don't live, you know?
Yeah.
And Scrublands is so fucking Aussie, man. It's so funny sometimes. It's such a funny book.
Is Crocodile Dundee featured?
Crocodile Dundee is referenced.
Is he really?
No, I'm joking.
I was like, holy shit, I was just being ignorant. That's crazy.
But there is one of my favorite characters in this book is a guy that lives out in the scrublands, so like these sort of dust plains. He lives in a barn on his own with his tractor, and he just is completely naked all the time in every scene except for his boots and his hat. And he walks out because they got to go, investigate stuff and ask him questions. And he's like, I've never seen anything, mate. And he's just walking out like stark naked. He's the funniest character. And I'm like, man, this shit is so Australian.
Is his name Ben?
His name is Ben. Yeah. But yeah, Scrublands also just happens to have a murder in a church. So there is some church stuff in this one too. But I would call it a bit of a lighter read than The Black House, but still got that cool atmosphere going.
Yeah, it sounds sick.
Yeah, it's fun. It's also not a cop. It's a journalist that's just trying to dig for answers about what's going on in this place. And it's also kind of tangentially then about climate change in Australia and how it's affecting small towns and like industrial towns. And they're experiencing like severe drought and like, how does this town survive when nobody has water? It's really good. I like it a lot.
I need to read that. You're reminding me that I need to read that.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it, an amazing work of literature, but it's a fucking good book.
The two categories.
Two more very quickly that are not American. One of these is 90 pages.
Oh, top of the list.
So this is Edogawa Rampo, Beast in the Shadows, which I think I've told you about this before. This is pre-Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett. So Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett, kind of that crew of American noir, are often considered essentially the pioneers, the creators of the noir genre and all that sort of stuff. Not the creators, but like the ones that really brought that vibe into the mainstream. Well, this guy did it in Japan earlier in the 1920s. So I think this book is from like 1928. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking weird. Also, I would maybe just try to overlook how he writes women at times. But it is a direct, Japanese literature, I don't know. It is so entertaining though, and it's extremely well written.
It's only 90 pages.
That's only 90 pages.
You can overlook it for 90 pages.
90 pages of misogyny is actually the right amount.
Someone tell Alan. He's not here. He's not here anyway. But I'm not going to like do any accent or anything, but his name is a pseudonym and it is inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. So Edogawa Rampo is just Edgar Allan Poe in a Japanese accent, and he's heavily inspired by Edgar Allan Poe and like Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle. So it's got a little bit of like horror flavor, but like that sort of Poe vibe. It's cool. I like
Poe, so that's cool.
Yeah,
cool.
And it's extremely short. So yeah,
nice. Yeah, it being 90 pages automatically makes it higher probability to be read soon.
Cool. It's fun. Again, it's like not anything mind blowing, but it's just.
But it's interesting
as a piece of sort of cultural history too. It's cool. Then one that I'm going to recommend that I'm actually currently reading, and it's I like this a lot actually. This is George Simonens, The Man Who Watched the Trains Go By.
Is it about an autistic guy
Named
Alan?
Might be. Alan. He might be, but he does actually really love trains. Like this guy really loves trains.
That's
so yeah,
the dead giveaway. Yeah,
he might be. But George Simenon was a Belgian writer. Matt mentioned him earlier. He has a huge long series of like novels with a detective, Inspector Maigret. This is one of what he called his roman dur, which is basically his hard novels. So these were the books that he wrote. They're all standalones. These were the books that he wrote in the sort of vein of Dostoevsky and Camus.
Oh, okay.
About like
that.
Yeah, they're about like masculinity, but like this sort of isolation. I am unhappy about the way my life is going and I'm going to make a radical change, but then of course they sort of go down a violent path. And this guy just like sitting by the trains looking at trains going by, and one day he just decides, you know what, fuck this life. He loses his job, and he's like, I'm out. I'm just going to get on a train and see what happens. And then things get sort of violent, but it is extraordinarily well written.
That sounds really good.
It's so poetic. Like the language is just really, really nice. It's really flowy. Like it's quite easy to read, but I think it's just the rhythm of the way he tells the story is very pleasant to read. And actually, I don't know if anyone on this stream has ever heard of John Banville, but John Banville is an Irish author of literary fiction and crime fiction who won the Booker Prize in like the 80s. Or no, he won in 2005, but he was nominated a few times. Anyway, very respected literary author who also writes crime novels, and his crime novels he wrote under a pseudonym until people figured him out. And his books are basically inspired by George Simenon, who he says was the best author of the 20th century, which I just think is really interesting. And he's like, I read an article with him, and John Banville's just like, yeah, he wrote books that Dostoevsky and Camus tried to write, but he perfected them basically. And I was like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested.
So yeah, I haven't finished it yet. I'm reading it right now, but I think this is the shit.
I feel like that behind City of Fire. That's probably 1 and 2 then.
Nice.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also it is 245 pages.
Yeah. Derry made a correct comment. Noir equals problematic about women.
That could lead to another recommendation.
I know, which is why I'm highlighting it.
Here you go.
The Dresden Files.
In a Lonely Place. So
I have that.
Wonderful. We have recommended this before.
You bought it for me, I think, in Ireland.
Oh, we did.
Oh, did we buy him that book?
We did. It's clearly
either you bought it or you put it in my hands and said you have to buy this. And then by the time I got to the counter, I was like,
it was just there. Yeah, he does do that a lot. I would say if you want to like try different types of crime fiction and you're curious about first half the 20th century noir, I would say go with this one. Now, you can't go wrong with like a Dashiell Hammett. I read Maltese Falcon in January and it was very, very enjoyable. But I think this is interesting on top of enjoyable because it has all the atmosphere and the tropes and the imagery that you expect from noir of the time.
I like this novel than any Raymond Chandler or Dashiell Hammett that I've read.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's also a very misogynistic subgenre, and it's written by a woman in the 40s, and its main character is a very
Problematic character.
manly man
Yeah.
who thinks very highly of himself, and thinks very highly of himself in terms of how women perceive him, or how he thinks women perceive him.
But he's a private investigator, right? Isn't he one of
No,
those?
he's a writer.
Oh, he's a writer, yeah.
He's writing a crime novel, I believe. And then crimes start to happen around LA. And that's all I'll say. But
the character's name is Dick Steele.
Dick Steele.
It is not.
It is Dick Steele. Yeah.
I love this guy already.
It's kind of what made us pick up the book, because we read the back and we were like, this is hilarious, actually.
Dick Steele is out of pocket. That's crazy.
So, but it has all the elements of noir, but it is kind of, doing your genre subversion business. But more so than subversion, it's commenting on the genre while also loving the genre and writing in it.
Yeah.
Which I think is a deceptively difficult line to walk. What I think is even more interesting, or gives it like an extra layer of interest in terms of like it as a historical document almost, is that they made a movie adaptation a couple of years later, like maybe 3 or 4 years later, with Humphrey Bogart, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bogey movie, yeah.
Yeah. And again, without getting into like what actually happens, because I don't want to spoil it, but they fundamentally changed the character in the movie versus the book.
They made the character more likable in the movie and changed the fundamental aspect of the resolution of the plot.
They basically changed the ending, but by changing the ending, changed the entire book and what the book is saying and what the story is about. And in my opinion, that one little end change makes it a completely different story, makes it very average and uninteresting, but also shows exactly why Dorothy Hughes was probably compelled to write it in the first place.
They turned the movie into exactly what she was trying to comment on about the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is just really ironic.
It's like really the flip of Starship Troopers. Like the novel is like just not great.
Yes.
And then the movie is making almost a parody of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like, just because I mentioned it earlier, like if they made an adaptation of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and the whole point of it ended up being that Duncan is dumb for being nice,
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, you misread that entirely. Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, Evie is right. Thanks a lot, Hayes Code. Yeah, dead on.
But it's also just very well written. But it has all of the, the atmosphere, the foggy streets of LA, the cigar smoke, the, like the dark bars. Like it has all those things. It's great.
I like it. It's also very short, if I remember correctly. Like it's really short.
It is. It's like maybe 200 pages. Yeah.
I think I might have read the first chapter of that and really liked it. I think. Because like when I was in the hotel room at night, I would just read the books I bought. So like I read half of Dubliners.
Nice. I remember. Yeah.
Or as I called it, Dubliners.
Dubliners. Dumbass yank.
I say, what a dumbass.
Britain asks, is there alcohol consumption? Yes.
You mean like in this stream?
In this stream, there was.
You finished?
We ran out. Oh, do you want to get us more Guinness?
Sure.
Class.
Are you drinking from the cans?
We are, unfortunately. We don't have a tap.
Yeah.
We don't have a tap. I do want to buy a tap, but
you should.
We will. So soon enough, we're going to get off topic again. But yeah, soon enough when the weather improves, because it has been raining for 7 weeks, Jimmy.
It's been raining a lot here and also snowing, which I don't appreciate in the least. I hate it.
When the weather improves, I am intending to by a small shed that a group of cool lads who own a small business that build like garden furniture.
Mhm.
They will come and build a shed in our garden that will be our garden bar.
I love
And
it.
I'm going to buy a ton of like sort of decorative stuff that you would find in a pub from just around Dublin. And I'm also going to bring stuff home from Spain and just sort of decorate the bar.
Will
And
that
then
be done by May?
potentially, yes, potentially.
It better be.
But yes, then I will also try to buy a Guinness tap for that, because that is essentially my dream in life.
Yeah, that would be amazing. At the Guinness here, at the factory, they have like what do you call it? The rubber underneath the tap that catches everything. I always want to buy. I mean, I don't have anything of
the bar runner. The runner.
Yeah, I've always wanted to buy one. They look so cool.
Yeah. I've got some like literally waiting in a basket, bookmarked on the laptop, and there's one that is a Guinness one, and then there's one that's my hometown beer from Spain, so from the city where I'm from in Spain. So yeah, I'll have both sides of the culture represented in the garden bar. Anyway, that's all for you
Will
guys.
there be any German, or are you just leaving that out?
There will be German, yeah. There'll be some plaques of German beer on the garden bar. I'm telling them about the garden bar.
German beer is quite good.
So, funnily enough, where I'm from in Germany is famous for cider.
I like cider.
Yeah, me too. And like, okay, so now I'm curious, because the cider that you get in Ireland, I don't like. What would cider be like for you? Is it sweet, or is it more like sour?
It depends. Like, we have both. I like the sweeter side than I do sours. Kelsey loves sours. Like, anything sour, she's all in on.
Okay, interesting. Like, here you get the sweet one. In most of mainland Europe, I'd say you get sour cider. So in Frankfurt, specifically in the south of the city, it's such a specific, like, small part of the city that is famous for cider. And you have these very traditional jugs. They're like big jugs that have like blue paintings on them that you fill them with, and you order them by the amount of glasses that fit in the jug. Like, that's the jug size. So you'll order like a 4 or an 8 or something, and that's the amount of glasses that fills. Yeah. And it's one of those things where you have to know how to order, because otherwise it's a very overwhelming place to be and nobody will explain it to you. And then the glasses are like, they look like water glasses, but they have these like diagonal, rhombus.
Translation in the moment.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but they won't.
What is this shape? That's like that.
Is it called a rhomboid?
No.
Rhombus.
It's like a diamond kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an oblong rhombus, I guess, right?
Rhombus.
Yeah, like that kind of diamond shape, and like that's like shaped on the glass. And then this has nothing to do with crime books, but whatever. And
there's a lot of drinking in crime books.
Yeah, there's probably been crime committed there. It's fine.
Definitely.
We could recommend The Thin Man by Dashiell Hammett. That's literally just about a married couple sitting around drinking whiskey, solving a murder. It's fantastic.
Recommended. There you go.
Parallelogram is probably right. I think that's right.
Parallelogram. Wow.
Well, that would be if it's like
4-sided, right? Yeah, it's just like it's like if you turn it, right?
Yeah, like this is all 4 sides are the same length, and 2 angles are the same, and these 2 angles are the same.
Yeah, so I think parallelogram is correct. If you just turn it, right?
Wild.
Oh, nice. Anyway. Britain's going to read The Maltese Falcon next month.
That's nice. A good book. Anyway, so you order your cider, and then you can have it pure, so like just the cider. But most people would have it, you call it gespritzt. And you can either have it sweet or sour. So if you order it if you want it sweet, you basically order lemonade and do like maybe 80% cider and then a little bit of lemonade, like just on top. That's kind of frowned upon, but you can do it.
It's kind of like a shandy when people like mix like lemonade with beer here. Do you guys have shandies? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, kind of like that, but with cider. Or if you go sour, instead of lemonade, it's sparkling water.
No, okay. I finally gaslit myself into liking sparkling water, so I could do that now.
Interesting. I like it mixed with stuff. Like I like making things sparkly, but I don't like sparkling water by itself.
I mean, I didn't until I just forced myself for no reason. I was just like, I'm just gonna until I like it, I'll drink it, and that worked.
Do you want to know a fun anecdote about sparkling water?
Yeah.
So one of my best friends is he used to be a fireman. Now he's an advanced paramedic. But when he was a fireman, I think he still has to go out in the truck every now and again. But when he started in his training, the station told him to always have sparkling water in the truck because it's the best for quenching your thirst after fighting a fire or if you have to go into the house. And he has said he's now like he's been doing this job for almost a decade now, or over a decade now. And he says that is legit. Sparkling water is so much better than just regular water after being on fire. I don't know why. I don't even know if it's actually true, but it works for him. And it works for everybody in his station.
That's fascinating.
That's interesting.
And also, everyone in the station has cool nicknames because it's Ireland, you know? There's just an aside. There is a guy, right? This is funny. This is totally off topic. I could give you a story about all of the nicknames of everybody I ever grew up with, and you wouldn't believe it. Anyway, there's a guy in the station who his name is Keith, right? And unfortunately, due to an accident fighting a fire early in his career, Keith lost an eye.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so his nickname after that incident then became Keth.
That's rough. That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's tough beats for old Keth.
Yeah. So Keth is still there and he's still Keth. But, you know, they're just like, yeah, shit happens.
Keith without the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
There you go. I also went to college with a fella who was born with one arm longer than the other and like really noticeable. And we called him Clock. I love it. Yeah, he was Clock for 4 years. Yeah. Anyway,
that's so bad.
That's my story. I present you with Irish culture. There you go.
Yeah.
Books.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We did actually have more books.
Yeah. We're building your TBR until you're 65.
Oh yeah. No, I won't make it that far, but it's a valiant effort.
You always want to have something to look forward to.
Yeah. I did have a plan to like talk to Jimmy about like shit that we've been reading recently and like talk about Small Mercies and Remains of the Day and the shit that we've been swapping.
Jimmy has another hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. We can get to it then. All right. What's the last couple of books then?
Okay. So, all right. Leaning into the spy stuff or spy adjacent.
Has anyone in any BookTube live chat complained when the hosts go off topic? Please don't worry.
I have multiple episodes of Chagman Nuts that don't feature books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Last time we went live, we started talking about how different parts of the English-speaking world talk about blankets. So I think we're doing fine.
That is insane.
We were talking about
we did
duvet covers and comforters and
what was the Australian one? It was
Duna.
Duna.
Yeah.
Fucking nonsense.
So, you know, you learn something.
Anyway.
It is so cold in this room, by the way. I'm drinking a cold beverage and it's making it so much worse.
Oh, get like A hot beverage.
Everybody's happy with the tuna. There you go.
Anyway, so I have 3 more recommendations for you for spy stuff.
Okay.
And I'm quite happy with them because there are 3 different ones, and there's one. Anyway, I'm just going to get into it. So the first one is historical fiction. It's honestly barely crime, but it does get shelved in crime sometimes.
That's because he writes thrillers.
Yeah. So that's Munich by Robert Harris.
Munich. Okay.
Robert Harris, Daddy Harris.
Not to
We
be
love him.
Yeah, not to be confused with either Richard Harris or Thomas Harris.
That's true.
Roberto.
So he writes very compellingly.
Hell yeah.
I would say he writes, he's not trying to be literary, but it's also a step above functional, you know, like he has some personality in the writing, but it's extremely easy to read. Like there's 0 effort required on your part. So Munich is about the Munich Accords. So it's set in 1938, so right before.
Yes, Evie,
World
same
War
guy
II.
that wrote Cicero.
Yeah, same guy. So the Prime Minister of the UK, Chamberlain, goes to Germany to meet with Hitler in Munich. And this is real, this happened. And obviously for Chamberlain, his goal was to avoid a war. So it was a diplomatic effort, you know, to meet with Hitler in Munich. And part of his delegation is our main character, who's kind of a young English diplomat. And part of Hitler's delegation is a young German diplomat who happened to go to school in England. And the 2 of them were friends in school before the Nazis came to power and everything went to shit, basically. So they now obviously are traveling with or work for 2 countries that are hostile at the brink of World War II. But they have a shared past. They might have more of a shared past than we know about straight away. They have their own agendas. And basically they, you know, try to meet while their bosses are meeting, but nobody can know about it because they would be betraying their country by even trying to do that.
Fire.
It's great. It's one of those, a type of, like, this is not really spies, it's diplomats, but it falls in the same kind of category. It's one of those that I love where it's not about people shooting each other on the street and like car chases. It's about people sneaking around and hiding behind a newspaper outside a cafe and waiting for 2 hours and leaving a secret message under the table for the next person to maybe pick up, you know?
Yeah. There's a show on Netflix called The Diplomat who has Kerry Russell in it from The Americans. And it's an up and down show. I got a lot of complaints about it, but it's very much like that. It's really good.
You did recommend that show to us recently, yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to watch it. Like, there's a lot of stuff I'll just like complain about and it'll be hilarious, but like it's ultimately like a very good show, very well acted.
I'll forgive.
Jana Rose says, like, real spy shit.
Yeah, real spy shit. That is my ultimate review of this book. But it also has stuff to say about, you know, obviously it's a very tense situation, but what do you do? You know, what do you do when your personal and your personal life, your country, your professional life, your aspirations, everything has suddenly changed and is in conflict with each other, and like has a lot to say about like what should we stand for as humans, and like if you can't stand for that, what is even the point? Like, you know, it's great. Like I absolutely loved it. And it's very readable. It's also just, you know, a thriller.
So Britain says
Hitler? Whatever happened to Hitler?
So Robert Harris also has a book about that called Fatherland, and it's about Hitler winning the war and what the UK looks like after that.
Oh, I love that kind of alternate history. Not like love it as in I support it, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
I
we
find,
know
like,
what you said.
Man in the High Castle.
We know what you meant.
We can buddy read that at some point because I haven't read that one yet, and neither have you.
Nope. Britain asks, I have wanted to read Robert Harris for a while. I don't know where to start. He has a lot of books.
He has a lot of books. Well, I started with Munich and found that to be a great standalone. So I think most of his books are standalones, but Munich is a strong one.
If you like Rome, Cicero is unbelievable. It's a trilogy, so it's 3 books. But I mean, you can
Wasn't
read
he at the bookshop that you guys worked at?
He was, yeah. He's been a few times to do book launches and signings. He really likes coming to Ireland. I think he just, he comes over, he signs a few books, and then he goes for several pints.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's like this is again off topic, but often when musicians, when they do concert tours, the European leg often either starts or ends in Dublin because they like going out in Ireland. So they come and like either come early or they can get to stay for a couple of days for a lot of like obviously a lot of European bands and stuff, but also international. You see it a lot where like whenever I'm getting concert tickets and stuff, I'm like, oh, Dublin. Oh, they have 3 days off afterwards. Interesting.
Hey, that city does it to you. I will say.
It was funny. We were in town last night. Town is in like the city center. So we used to live in town, but we don't live in town anymore. Anyway, so we were back in town last night, and we were walking past like this. There's this sort of junction, this huge congregation where the buses come fucking flying, and people are just waiting to cross the road in 6 different directions. And I'm not gonna lie, it's overwhelming, but I kind of love it. I love the city. Anyway, we were walking past, and I just overheard this American couple, this old American couple, like 70, and they were just walking down through this chaos, and they were like, "Oh man, I love it here. It's so safe."
Yeah, that's how I felt. Walking around at 1 a.m. without a care in the world. It was great.
But I was like, yeah, this is so chaotic right now, and yeah.
But that's as chaotic as it gets,
Yeah.
And yeah. Okay, I have 2 more.
Okay.
So the next is John le Carré. And the only one that I have read is The Spy Who Came In From the Cold.
I DNF this book.
Did you?
So
did he.
I don't like this book.
Very based. It wasn't bad. It's written very well. First off, it was not what I was expecting at all. And I wouldn't say I hated it, but it just wasn't what, like, I reached for it for a certain reason and didn't get that, I guess.
It's boring as shit, Jimmy.
I know that's boring. Not a acceptable opinion because people think that's like he's one of the best. That's his best.
It's an acceptable opinion, and anyone who criticizes you for calling it boring because it doesn't have action, I don't know what to say to that. I'm just like, I like a lot of books with no action. That is simply boring. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I'm ruining your pitch.
It's fine. Well, how far did you get?
I would say about 30%, maybe. Like 25, 30%. Because it's not long at all.
No, it's not. No, I think that's fair because you kind of got similarly, right? Like,
yeah, I think I might have made it a bit further. I might have read like half of it.
Well, he goes over the line, comes back, and then goes back at some point. I think he was going back.
There are sections that I really enjoy. My favorite part was in the library with the librarian.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's at the beginning. That's my favorite part of the book, actually.
I think I think it's fair. Like, I loved it, but it did take a while to click. Like, I don't think he's particularly preoccupied with making you care about the character at all or
Mhm.
giving you anything really about the character. So you're a bit detached.
I think that's my problem because, like Matt saying here, everyone lying to each other, knowing you're all lying until the dominoes fall. I was seeing all of that, but didn't care.
Yeah, and I know he was actually, wasn't he a spy, like in real life, like or
Yeah.
something? And so I know it's like a very accurate portrayal, but I was just like, okay, I guess like I want drama. I want more drama.
Yeah.
But I didn't write it off. Like it wasn't like I did have like I'll never finish that. It was more like I can come back to this at a different time.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Like I find it interesting because there are books that have no action that are not boring at all.
Mhm.
And I didn't find this book boring, but I understand why you might find it boring, even if you're not a person that gets bored by no action, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I think it is because there's a sense of detachment. I think I went into it because I wanted that like time period of Berlin.
It is interesting, yeah.
You loved how like evocative the book was of that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will be honest, I don't remember what happens. I just remember like reading it and the crescendo in like the last, I don't know, maybe third of the book or so, where like, yeah, the dominoes start to fall and you realize where exactly we're going and how they're going to get them and all that. And you're like, oh, and I absolutely loved that. But I do get it. Like it's not going to get you emotionally invested to then carry you through the tension, you know?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I think I picked it up thinking it would be very similar to the maybe not thinking, but wanting it to be similar to the Americans, and it's not. Like it's not even close.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It doesn't mean it's bad or anything. It's just it's a very different type of story than what I thought I was going to get. But I mean I still have it. I didn't donate it or sell it, so that's a good sign.
So like when you would approach, if you this is interesting to me. If you are stepping outside the typical books that you read and looking for a spy thriller or a crime novel or whatever, do you typically look for a TV show equivalent or a movie equivalent? Because a lot of people would.
I mean, yes, in the sense that there are TV shows where I think, man, this would make a phenomenal book. Like, because the problem with TV shows, rarely do they go deep enough for me. Like, a lot of TV shows are very just topical, like surface level stuff. And that's fine. Like, I get it. That's just how it goes. I always just find books to be mostly like 99% of the time more engaging. So then I'm like, oh, well, first off, I always go, does this show have a book or this movie have a book? And then if not, I'm like, well, what? A great example of this is Severance. Like Severance as a book would be insanely good. I think it's a great TV show too, but I started looking at books like Severance, and then you always find out there's nothing like that, right? Like, the same thing with the Song of Ice and Fire. I mean, when I started my YouTube channel, I was just trying to find the next Song of Ice and Fire. Like that was my goal. And I quickly realized that that's not possible. Not because it's the most grand work ever. I think it is, but like there's so many elements to that series that you can pick out maybe one or two of them that another series does, but encapsulating, I mean, that's why it's a special series in many regards, is because it combines so many things. So I would say yes, yes, in the sense that like there's stuff in those TV shows that I want to dive more into.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. I think we got a lot of people coming in looking for like especially you working on the floor when we were in the bookshop. We got a lot of people saying, "Oh, I like this kind of thing that I watch. Give me something similar."
Yeah, I enjoy figuring that out because like, and I think we all do it, right? Like you watch something or you read something, you're like, oh my God, I loved it. I want more like that.
Yeah.
But then what do you mean by like it? Like, okay, so what is it that you liked about it? Did you like, right? Like, did you like the setting? Did you like the characters? Did you like the writing style? Like, did you like the themes?
And I actually think that a lot of people maybe don't necessarily like they might read casually and they don't necessarily put the level of thought in that you've just explained. So they're like, oh, I like this TV show, but I don't exactly know why it didn't delve deep enough. Whereas you, like, you've thought about that. We talk about this shit all the time. You're sort of ingrained in, oh, I want that to delve a little bit deeper in certain ways or whatever. Most people are just like, I like that thing. It's not scratching an itch. What is the itch that's left to be scratched?
And I struggle to find it. I mean, for instance, like Severance, I still haven't figured out, like I can roundabout say what I like, but then when people hear it, then they recommend these stories. I'm like, no, that's not it. So I still haven't figured that out. And like the show Paradise, I would say, is also very much a like a show like that. Even that show is not perfect. It has episodes that I think are 10 out of 10. And I'm like, what is it about the show that I want more of? It's post-apocalyptic, sure, but there's so many post-apocalyptic things I don't like too. So yeah, it's really hard to pick it out.
Also, you were talking earlier, and I totally agree with you. I love prison stories, and I don't know if there's that many books that do it so well. And like one of my favorite books is The Green Mile, purely because it's a prison story. I
need to read that.
Oh, it's so good. And I love a prison story. But I went searching. I did like Googling recently. I don't remember why. But like just prison novels or like crime novels set in prison. And I think I got one result, and it was Rachel Kushner.
Oh yeah, but I need to read her.
Creation Lake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been towards the top of my TBR since it was on the Booker list.
Same.
So she has another book that is set in a female prison, apparently.
She writes a lot of
It's literally the only crime novel that I found set in a prison.
All of her concepts sound like your typical dude heavy crime.
Yeah.
Like so many prison stories, they're usually in male prisons, right? Mars Room. Yeah. But like all of her concepts sound exactly like my cup of tea. So I need to read her. If I click with her, I'm gonna be so happy.
Yeah, I thought Creation Lake's premise sounded phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't read that yet.
Yeah, we've had it since the Booker shortlist. Yeah. Okay, I have one more.
Okay.
And this one I wanted to pitch to you specifically because I think this is an incredibly difficult book to recommend. And it got some very, very mixed reviews and upset reactions by people when it came out. Doesn't help that it was highly anticipated. And maybe the marketing misfired, but I understand why they marketed it the way they did. But I think it has a very niche target audience, which is unfortunate. Anyway.
But the niche might be this stream.
Yes, this might be the niche. We have found it. It's 36 people and 3 of us. So it's The Year of the Locust by Terry Hayes.
The Year of the Locust.
You might have heard of Terry Hayes. He wrote I Am Pilgrim, which was everywhere.
Is that like I Am Legend?
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Continue. I'm sorry.
Including the vampire boobs.
Yeah.
Yes, in the incel vibes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. One of those 3 might be included. So Terry Hayes, he's Australian, and I Am Pilgrim came out in maybe 10 to 15 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And it's a big, thick, almost 1,000-page spy thriller about a spy who goes to somewhere in the Middle East. I don't remember where.
Evie's asking, did he write the Rabbit book, or is that a different Terry and or Hayes? I think that is and or.
That is a different Terry and or Hayes. So I Am Pilgrim, big epic spy thriller, huge success. at the time, and then he didn't write another book in like 12 years, and people kept nagging him about the next book. Is it going to be a sequel? Is it going to be a standalone? And in 2023, he finally came out with his second novel, which is The Year of the Locust. Now, the cool story is I had just started working at the bookshop a couple of months prior, and I had just started like looking after the crime section. So I got a proof of the first part of the book, like the first couple of 100 pages before it came out. And I started reading it and was really loving it. And then Terry Hayes came into the bookshop when the book was released. And I told him I was reading it. He signed it for me. I got to go to like a talk that he was giving. It was really cool. He was also very nice.
He wrote you a personalized note in the book. He didn't just sign it.
Yeah. He wrote me a note in the book. Yeah. Anyway, so this book, and I want to pitch it in a way that does it justice, but also doesn't spoil it, which is difficult to do. So it's a spy thriller. You know, the ins and outs of what exactly we're spying on don't really matter. It's a very well written spy thriller. It has action. It has the like quiet sequences, the like prep work before going like undercover somewhere, like all that stuff, you know, and he does that really well, and it's very compelling. And you get that slow build of like anticipation into going somewhere dangerous, and then so many little things go wrong, and of course, or could go wrong, and of course they do, and you know, that kind of thing. So like you have all that stuff that you want in a good big epic spy thriller. And then so something that's interesting, like books are usually either set in the past or they're set in the future, like sci-fi, or they're set in the present, as in the year that they come out vaguely, and you can kind of imagine that it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're set in the past and the future. You have like multiple timelines. But generally, if you have a linear story, it's only set in one of those three, right? It's either a linear story set in the past, or set in the present, or set in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare that we see progression of time from one into another, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this book sits on the cusp.
You're trying really hard not to just spoil the thing.
And I'll just keep it there. But
I'm very interested.
It basically, it's a pure spy thriller for 75% of the book.
Until it becomes something else.
And then it becomes something else. So obviously they marketed it as a spy thriller, but the spy thriller crowd was very upset.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say that the snobbery exists everywhere, and thriller readers will be like, what? This is not realistic. Ugh.
I think it almost, just the way you're talking about timelines, The Other Valley by three named author, I can't remember. It's his debut. I liked it. People said it's kind of like David Mitchell, but there are three like towns that are in a row. Mm-hmm. One is in the past, one is in the present, one's in the future, and they have the same populations.
Oh,
and they're actually, I guess it's kind of a crime. Something happens, and this person like works for the department that like can go between them, and it's I didn't love it. Like comparing to David Mitchell was a losing battle, but it's really good. So you might like that book, actually.
That sounds really interesting.
Really good.
I like that kind of concept.
It's also short, which is nice.
The Year of the Locust is not short.
It's 787 pages. What are we doing here?
Yeah, it is a standalone though, Jimmy.
Oh, thank God.
But both of his books are really long. I Am Pilgrim is also like 900
That's
pages.
even longer. I will say I don't think it's perfect. It has some. I have a specific criticism that I can't say because it's a spoiler, but it doesn't ruin the book for me. I think the ambition that he had, I just haven't read a book like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he swung for the fences, and he did something that him and his publisher must have known was going to upset people. It's a very difficult book to pitch because of it, because the thing that makes it, I think, unique and interesting is the thing that you can't really say, but also what's going to make the primary readership hate it. I made a video review for it a couple of years ago, I think shortly after I read it, and most of the comments I get of people that read it are like, yeah, it was stupid. It fell off a cliff.
It's one video where we finally managed to reach the crime thriller audience, and they did not.
They did not like it.
Not appreciate it.
Yeah.
To be fair, as opposed to some other videos where people don't agree with me, nobody actually attacked me on it. Like, they should just attack the book.
Yeah, which is nice.
The David Gemmell fans are ruthless.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't like me.
We could go down that road. Jana Rose says, I feel like this bookstore you guys always talk about must be much more special than the ones we have in the USA.
It's quite special.
Yeah, look, we have a lot of fondness for it. It was also, I used to go there with my ma all the time. It is also the oldest bookstore in Ireland. It is mentioned in Ulysses, actually. So anyone who's actually read Ulysses,
it's one of the oldest bookshops in the world.
The third oldest in the world.
Yeah, it's from 1768. So it's very old. It's unfortunately no longer independent. So it's debatable whether that bookshop from 1768 actually exists anymore. The name exists and it's still a bookshop, but you know.
Yeah, about 15 years ago, it was bought by Waterstones, who were then also later bought by the same hedge fund that owns Barnes & Noble. It wasn't always... so they didn't necessarily enforce their will upon the bookshop until about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now. A year and a half ago.
No, 2 years ago. A year and a half ago, we left.
Oh my God. Time flies. But yeah, it's a cool place. Long story short, a lot of well-regarded authors from the UK and Ireland would go there on book signings and book tours, especially like authors from the UK who, you know, do a book tour all across the UK and then come to Ireland, will go there. Pretty much.
Yeah, and have been doing that for a couple of 100 years, which is really cool.
There are 5 people in Dublin. It's fine.
We don't live around there anymore. That's okay.
It's also in the city. There's 2 million people in Dublin. It's fine.
Like 5. We've established that.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone in Ireland, right?
That's actually true. There's like
you know what?
We in Ireland like to complain about the Americans coming over here and saying, oh my God, do you know my cousin? He's like, what? And we're like, no, I don't know your fucking cousin. I don't care if your great-great-grandfather was from whatever. And then they say, do you know like Sean Hennessy? And you're like, is that Sean Hennessy from Falls Row? And they're like, yeah. Oh shit, yeah, I know him. It happens every time.
I was, funnily enough, I don't know why I was thinking about this afternoon for some fucking reason.
Hi, Joanna.
Hi, Joanna. Obviously not everybody in Ireland knows each other, but
the story is
think
great.
The whole like, what is it? What's the degree of separation thing? Is it 5 or 7?
6 degrees of separation
6.
from Kevin Bacon.
Like, is it 6 degrees of separation from like anybody is like the theory? Yeah.
2.
I think in Ireland it's 3 max from the entire country. Like 3? I think, yeah, I would say so. Like, it's because somebody that you know that I don't know would be 2 degrees already.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So right. I think it's probably not a stretch to say 3 degrees of separation for the whole country. My favorite story that I've had of those, and I won't say any locations or names to not dox anybody, but so when I first came to Ireland, I didn't live here yet, but I was in the west of Ireland, and I was working in a hostel, and the guy that ran the hostel, I'm just going to make up a name, I'm going to call him Tom. So Tom, who ran the hostel, told a story about him bartending in New York. He used to work in an Irish pub in New York in the 80s or something. And this, you know, typical story of an American coming in and going like, oh, I have an Irish like friend, or do you know him, and being annoyed by it. And then it turned out that this guy actually went to the same school that he went to in a small town in the west of Ireland.
Classic fucking
classic story. So fast forward years later, we're here and we're talking about this, having this type of conversation with a friend of ours from New York who's Irish American, who's been living here for a long time.
And she's like, but she's like actually Irish American, like.
Oh, she's like 4 Irish grandparents.
Yeah. But also like lived here a long time, like actually.
She lives here, yeah.
And she has a passport.
Anyway, so we're talking about this. I tell this story. But obviously I tell it with Tom's real name and the name of the town. And she's like, hold on a sec. Is this guy like mid-50s? Like, yeah. And the hostel, is it this and that hostel? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I think I'm related to him.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what the relation is. Is it like an uncle or once removed or something like that?
The chances of that are so slim.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
It's so funny.
Also, I don't know what it is, and I'm sure this is probably true of every culture, but you can just sniff out people that are from where you're from if you're in other places.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, like when we went to New York City last year, we have obviously a lot of pride for a good pint of Guinness here.
Hi, Divya.
Oh, hi, Divya. We have a lot of pride for a good pint of Guinness here, and there's a sort of we will turn our noses up about having a pint in a place like London or New York. But, you know, I want to be open-minded and just try a place that might look good and see, let's see how their pint is here. When we were in New York, and we were walking around with some friends from the BookTube community, which was fun. I found a couple of places that just like kind of looked cool. And I'm like, yeah, this place looks all right. And then like it was actually Joe sent us the name and I was like, yeah. And then I looked it up and I was like, that place looks okay. Let's go in there. And then we went in and the pint was nice. And I was like, huh. I mean, I'm not happy about paying $10 or $11 for this. That's extortionate. But this pint is actually pretty good. I was expecting to, really complain quite profusely about this. And then
you did not complain at all.
No.
You had multiple.
Oh, I had double digits, yeah. And then we go in the second night and the same bartender's behind the bar. And this time I chat to him and he just, the moment we walked in, there was a group of us. The moment we walked in, he did this little thing, this gesture that I didn't think of in the moment. And I just went, and then I realized, oh shit, I just did the classic pub gesture of like, I'll have what I was having yesterday that I do in every pub in Dublin where you're just like, and they know. And then the bartender personally brings over a tray of, 6 Guinness. And then I said, cheers, pal. And he goes, where are you from? And I was like, oh, no way. Because this fella sounded kind of American, like he had a twang. He was like, hey guys, how you doing? This sort of American. But then when he said a couple of words, and you can always tell with the vowels, like with a U or something like but, like we say but, not but, And I heard but, and I was like, hold on a fucking second. You're from Dublin. What's going on? And he said, yeah, I'm from such and such place. And I've been here for 27 years. So then we just started chatting. And I was like, my God, I actually non-verbally communicated with this man upon entering the place. He came right over himself, busy man with a tray full of 6 Guinness, well poured. And I was like, Jesus, he sniffed me out like a truffle pig.
Yeah.
We do it everywhere we go. How does that nonverbal communication just exist? Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah.
I actually did not have a bad pint on that trip, so fair play to the United States.
Yeah, I took you to the Guinness here. It was great.
Yeah, that was good.
That was nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone
Can we
even
correct
say,
that to fair play to the East Coast?
Fair play to the East Coast. Yeah.
Someone even say Carlos might have broke tradition and maybe mixed his Guinness with other beer.
Yes.
Don't out me like that.
Great point.
I may have photo evidence of said thing.
Yeah.
What
And
you say?
he liked
Don't
it.
tell the lads. Is what you said.
Literally what I said.
Oh, it's wonderful.
General says, this is the second time this week that this BookTube community has made my heart very warm and fuzzy. Thank you. Well, thank you too.
Thank you.
I had like 7 people from all over the world in my house. It was wild.
That was extremely cool.
It was a
It was
fun
the
trip.
best week of my life. It was amazing.
Yeah. I miss your cats.
they miss all the attention. They changed after that. They
I'm
really
sure.
I was going to say the other plan I had was talking about some of the books that Jimmy has actually given us.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
I didn't want this whole stream to just be us like talking
Pitching.
at
Yeah, let's
Jimmy.
actually let Jimmy talk.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh no.
So I asked you last month, recommend just any book to us and I will read it. And you recommended The Remains of the Day.
Slammer. Yolanda, did you already read it?
I did not. No, I read the prologue last year, I think, and I thought it was great. I just wasn't reading anything, and I'm still not really reading anything.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. That's kind of why I asked, because it's been a struggle to read the last month or so.
I'm doing that a little bit.
Yeah, we feel you. Work's been.
Yeah. I'm drowning.
Yeah. But I read The Remains of the Day last Saturday. It took me less than 24 hours to read it.
You burned through it, dude.
Yeah, I thought it was fabulous. And we are talking about, all of these little cultural things that make us feel all warm and fuzzy, and these little moments. And The Remains of the Day is a book that speaks to my sensibilities on a wholly profound level. And never in a million years did I think it would be a fucking English butler. Like, my God.
Did I give you the spiel about like why it connects to so many people?
Go for it. This is why I wanted to bring this up. Talk about Remains of the Day.
So, and for those who have heard me talk about the book, you probably heard me say this before, so I apologize. But Ishiguro did an interview about it. And what he said to the interviewer was, everyone's an English butler. And it's like, when someone says it, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And what he's talking about is that through work or just being a part of a culture, nation, city, whatever, and like the way all the power works is that we give up representation to people that we barely know, that we have to hope will make good and just decisions that represent us.
Yes.
Like that power is forfeited in some way, shape, or form for every single person in the world. And it ends up sometimes they don't make the best decisions, and you have to kind of reflect on that. And it's a sense of almost betrayal in many ways, whenever the people who are supposed to be doing that don't make good decisions. And that's what Stevens is wrestling with the entire book.
Yeah.
He's dedicated his life to someone, and that someone may not have always been the best person. And now, also, obviously, turning of the century, like Butler's Earner going out of style when we meet him in the story as well. So his profession and like love for this career or way of life is like being pushed out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Also, really this sort of pride that he takes in his work, probably because it's all he ever knows, but also it's a dying art.
Mm-hmm.
And he clearly, I love the understated, difficult relationship with his dad in the book, where he has such admiration for how good he believes his dad was at being a butler, and dedicates his entire life to being this sort of stoic professional. I am repeating this or carrying on with this tradition that is dying as his father is dying. But then the sort of tragedy of, well, is he doing it for the right people? And like, I mean, nowadays, who do any of us really work for, you know?
Yes, think about it.
Like, we get a job with these big companies, like we quit jobs in tech and went to work in a bookshop for a while, and then we realized, oh shit, this bookshop was bought by people we didn't necessarily want to be working for.
You can't escape it.
You just can't escape it.
Do the best you can, but like,
yeah,
it's just the truth of the structure in which we live, and that's why it's so relevant.
Yeah, but ultimately, and because the book really struck me, because I've not struggled, but like I have wrestled my entire life with whether I take things not seriously enough, I guess, because of my general personality and sense of humor, and sort of everything is fairly light and breezy to me, at least, for the most part, like anybody else, you take certain things seriously. But my ma always used to tell me that, just life just sort of pulls you along and you're fine, you're like, you don't necessarily like take control of things. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I constantly have existential crises where I'm just like, oh shit, should I take things a little more seriously? But then I'm like, okay, if I'm doing my job and I'm getting paid and we can put food on the table, like everything else is, you're healthy, everything else is just a fucking laugh, right?
Absolutely.
And that is pretty much how I approach everything. And it is also how I approach work. Like I have such a bird's eye view of the work that we do. And I'm not going to tell people what my job really is, but it's kind of like there's somewhat nasty things involved. And I'm just like, okay, let's see big picture. Let's like not focus on small things or whatever. And people generally throughout my career, not that I give a shit about my career, have found me to be a little too like jokey, like a little too like unserious. Whereas the people I work with now, I work with a lot of people who are really kind of like me, and that is totally new to me. But I still have this sort of existential thing of like, shit, do I just take the piss too much? Should I be a little should I treat this thing that is not that important a bit more seriously? And then I love the end of the book where he's sitting on the bench waiting for his bus or whatever, and he's like, I'm going to inspect this bantering business a little more.
Yeah. Speaking of the piss, intrigues me.
And he's like, because he's got his new boss, and his new boss is sort of the, what he sees as an unseemly American who is just a little louder, a little more brash, and a little less sort of gentlemanly as, your typical sort of English gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to realize, oh, maybe there's just a different way to get through the day with a smile on your face. And I was like, shit, this book's for me. Oh, fuck.
See, I take everything too. I maybe not serious is the word in some cases, but I take everything so literally. It's like definitely the biggest contributor to like my anxiety and such. Like,
is taking things too seriously?
Yeah, it's too serious or too literally. Yeah.
I am.
Do you mean seriously as in, like, too seriously as in like giving things too much headspace?
100%.
Yeah,
but I've gotten better at identifying it. Like sometimes I'm just like, I just need to drop this. Like I just need to not do this, and then I do it, and I feel way better.
I think I have an element of that too. Like when you have like dead skin on your fingers or something, and you shouldn't touch it. And if you don't touch it, it's better, but you cannot stop doing it.
Compulsive. Yeah. There's something up with me. I don't know, but I struggle to not overthink and give things way more credence than they should. So Stevens does remind me of me a little bit.
Yeah. Whereas Stevens' new boss reminds me of me. But then Stevens has this realization where I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not doing too bad,
Yeah, and also, I mean, you have to compare. The new master might not be as formal. Using the word master is terrible. But his boss will say his boss is less formal, but he ironically might be a better person than the guy who was super formal and
yeah.
That kind of brings us a bit full circle to like the conversation about cursing, right? And like the this facade of formality and like put togetherness, and like I'm not saying it's bad per se to be formal and put together, but like it can be a facade hiding something. As opposed to somebody who maybe comes across, oh, you're too casual, but they're just being themselves. Obviously that's a blanket statement, but yeah.
It used to royally piss me off in an old job. It used to royally piss me off when people said I was too casual.
Propriety, that's the word. Yeah.
Propriety, yeah. When people said I was too casual, but like my job involved getting large groups of people who speak different languages to do a job that no normal human would give a fuck about. But we just got to do it because we got to get to the end of the day having our job done, and we got to get paid, and then we all get to go home and live our lives. And I would say that often in meetings, and I would often get called up and be like, well, that's not the kind of visibility that we need with upper management. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? What language are you speaking? And
I actually hate when jobs don't want to acknowledge that people are there for a paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, Remains of the Day, so good. Made me think about all that stuff.
It's also hilarious, by the way.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
It's very funny. It's very well written. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you can dig into. Like I have a lot of thoughts about the relationship with the father outside of the fact that he's just kind of a shit dad. Great Butler, shit dad. But like I think it goes a little bit further than that in the sense that Stevens wanted to be like his dad, but if his dad was the man that he thought he was, wouldn't Stevens' dad had known the person like he should have been? Like he kind of makes, I want to say makes, but like he kind of like sends him on that path because he admired his father. And he would even say, well, he's a great butler. And people are like, well, and he's like, yeah, but he's a great butler. And so this situation with his boss actually kind of taints his father's legacy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a ton of resentment for that. And in some ways, he, by the end of it all, he's actually trying to like counter what he tried to copy from his father. Like there's a lot there to dive into.
For anyone in the chat that wants a little more context about what we're talking about, if you haven't read the book is set in the near kind of post World War II era. So certain people on certain sort of political sides.
Yeah, because some people forget that they think all the bad guys were in one that's not true.
Yeah.
There are people all across the world that did sympathize with the heinous things that like were going down, right?
Or maybe in the more complex space is not necessarily agreeing with everything that was being done, but excusing it by pointing in a different direction, saying,
Yes.
oh, but this thing they do. Yeah.
And profiting from it, probably.
Yes.
And maintaining those business relationships to make their life easier.
Yeah.
So the book's incredible. I mean, technically, could you call that historical fiction?
I guess.
You could.
It's like on the line, I would say.
Yeah.
Really just a character study. It's so good.
Extremely impressive to do that in such a short book.
Yeah.
It's so good. I think if you said, you put a gun to my head and said, like, what's a perfect book? I think that is it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it's perfectly executed.
Yeah, I think it's the best book I've ever read.
Okay, fine. I'll read it next.
Yeah, God, Yolanda.
There is a gun to my head somewhere.
Well, you don't have those there, so I can bring. I can't bring.
Yeah, it's a pocket knife to my head, actually.
The funny thing is, it's one of my mother's favorite books. So, like, I grew up in a family, like my mother and father are readers. They read different things. My ma loves historical fiction, literary fiction. My dad is a big crime reader. Neither of them have ever really read any fantasy, other than my ma likes Tolkien. But that is one of my ma's favorite books. And it's funny, I texted her saying, so I actually for years have just been ignoring this book because have seen the movie several times and I like that a lot. But by the way, I just picked Remains of the Day up, but it was actually an American former professional wrestler YouTuber and not you, who loves like literary fiction, studied languages and literature. Yeah, no, just this guy on the internet told me to read it. Yeah. and she was like, okay.
At least you read it.
Yeah.
Did you talk about it with her?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, I didn't actually remember the movie being so funny. I think the comedy of it or the sense of humor really comes across more in the book, but it's a long time since I've actually seen the movie. So
I need to watch the movie. I heard it's really good.
It is really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember how much Ishiguro wrote of that screenplay. I don't know if he did or not. I know he actually, I've seen interviews. He's like, people say I'm a terrific writer. I'm terrible screenplay writer. He's like, I'm very disappointed in myself.
That's like good of him to acknowledge, though. I feel like
very different disciplines. We know that. It's so hard.
But also there's been like adaptations before where like the author has written the screenplay and it's just not good. And like it's always a bit of a head scratcher of like, how could they adapt their own book badly? But it's a different medium. Like
I think he said it was harder for him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There is just a precision, an efficiency, an economic aspect to writing a screenplay where so much has to be conveyed and so little.
But you also need to relinquish control.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine would be hard if you're a novelist to then relinquish that amount of control.
Bringing us full circle to us recommending Dennis Lehane to you is the reason, or one of the main reasons Dennis Lehane is one of my favorite writers, not just novelists, is I think he is vastly underrated for his screenwriting. which I think is unbelievable.
I saw Blackbird, and that sold me, man. Like, I'm like, okay, that's cool. He wrote books. I would like more Dennis Lehane TV shows, please.
Yeah, like
continue.
It's crazy. Like, he says he's retiring from novel writing, like, unless he's basically like, if something like demands to be written, I'll write it, but I want to focus on TV. And if it was anybody else, I'd be upset that he doesn't want to write more novels because I want to read everything he's written. But I'm not upset because his TV is so fucking good.
Yeah, I'm all right with him writing whatever he wants to write as long as I get to see it or read it. Evie says Maggie O'Farrell's screenplay for Hamlet was spectacular. I didn't know she wrote the screenplay.
I didn't know that either. I need to read that book.
Also, I am conscious of time. Jimmy, you probably need to go.
Yeah, I got to get ready.
Cool.
We will let you go.
What a shame.
It's been great talking to you again.
Yeah, it's been nice. 3 hours have flown by.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Joanna's right. Just don't read the one bad Dennis Lehane book. Yeah.
Which one was that?
Since
we fell, I never finished it. To be honest, I never actually read it in full.
What does Joanna know?
Yeah.
Who's she ever beat?
Like, it's so funny to me. Like, all of his books are good. Like, I haven't read all of them, obviously, but like, everybody seems to agree every single book is good to great, and then everyone agrees he wrote one bad book. I don't know where that came from.
That's actually kind of good. That like everyone's at a consensus.
But I think it's pretty cool that Joanna started with Since We Fell. Just get it out of the way. Just like throw the shit at the wall. Yeah,
she's always a hipster.
Because but then maybe, when she reads Mystic River, The Given Day, Small Mercies, she'll just be like, whoa.
No, she read one Lehane, so she should say Dennis Lehane's just not for me.
Yeah. The entirety of crime fiction, actually.
We need a good generalization on the internet,
Yeah, honestly, we should do more generalizing. I think it's really good.
I think generalized opinions is really the way forward for online discourse.
Yeah.
Brian says, Joanna's in a buddy read with Philip. How does she have time to be here?
So are you, Brian, and so am I. We're all reading Earth of the New Sun.
Oh, shit.
I've read 2 chapters.
How's it going?
It's fine. I'm not, I'll be honest, I didn't like the first 2 chapters very much, but I'm assuming it's going to go places that I'll enjoy. First 2 chapters a little rough for me, unfortunately.
Jane Wolfe is one of the fantasy authors that I think I might at least have an interest in reading. He doesn't sound like your standard Orbit trilogy.
No, he's out there. I think you would probably like Book of the New Sun, but I actually think The Fifth Head of Cerberus is a really good place to start because I might like it more than Book of the New Sun. I'm pretty sure I do, actually. It's a little mind-bendy. It's really good.
I like mind-bendy.
I like that, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
We will let you go. We've been going for a very long time. We apologize for keeping you so long. Thank you for your time.
Don't apologize. It was fantastic. It was lovely.
I would say we would do this more often, but we are really not very good at any of this.
We are terrible, terrible booktubers.
I am too, if you think about it.
Oh.
Well, that makes us great collaborators then.
Yeah, we don't give a shit.
Thanks everybody for being in the chat too, because we had a pretty consistent audience of over 30 people, which is 10 times more than I usually joke that we have.
I mean, we also didn't get into the books for an hour and a half.
Yeah, we were talking shit.
True. We talked about types of alcohol, cursing, and how we have a vendetta against Orbit.
Yeah, and how generalizations are the way forward in online discourse. Bye, everybody. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you. Okay, end it.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Like and subscribe. Go to my Patreon.